a lot. He's here. Jamie, how are you?
I couldn't be better, Jeff. I mean, I'm happy to be back on the Flow Show. This is number 2, maybe number 3 even. 2 or
It's
3
two.
on the show.
It's a strong two. You could have. Oh, it could even be more. It could be. I think it's two. I'm almost sure, but we could. Someone could fact check this if you think we're on three. But I think it's a good two.
I think you hit double on my podcast too, actually. We did the home and away thing a little bit. So we've
All
got a
right.
lot. We've got a lot of conversations going on, but it's good every time. It's a necessary catch up. Has to happen. Lot to talk about. What's going on?
It's overdue, man. It is. It is. It's good. It's obviously we keep in touch on the side. We're always sort of got a next project going. I mean, if those that don't
Yeah.
know, we have done Stream House, Streamboat. What else have we done? There's other projects and houses and things. We've done different things. We had the hurricane interruption. We've done the weight bet in Reno. We were kind of all. I mean, it was your bet. I was
Yeah.
involved helping, was refereeing that. We've done a lot of different content, fun things. Give us a rundown. What have we done?
Yeah, we met at EPT Dublin, right? I think EPT
Bahamas.
Dublin,
Originally Bahamas. It was in Bahamas in January. I think their first
Bahamas,
ever meeting, but then we really kind of like sat down and
Dublin,
had a plan in Dublin. Yep.
followed up Bahamas. Then we did the Stream House in Montreal. That was like 4.5 years ago now.
Yes.
You were not yet married at that point. High flying. You popped in. We did a Michael Phelps charity for 8 days in a row, straight on Twitch. That was dope.
20 grand raised. That was special. That was a big part of you because you were getting woken up for 100. If you for 100, you would get woken up. And that was, you took some tough ones, some like 3, 4
Yeah.
a.m., 24-hour marathon. That was nice of you. That was big time.
That
I remember
house, you
that.
know what I think back about that house? And it was just a disaster, right? Like it was a shell of a house. It had like 4 old bedrooms. Like it felt like school bedrooms, you know? It was like a little tiny desk and a little tiny bed. And like, here's where you go. It was exclusively a content house. All we had was poker and Twitch. And that was like it, dude. And we were just locked down for the week. It was 24/7, 8 days in a row. It was sick.
It was so much fun. This is the thing that like bothers me about the only thing I would have done differently, and the thing that sucks. I remember you had a house scoped out. You had like a sick with a boardroom,
Yeah.
all this stuff. I think last minute fell through. It didn't go through. But like I think in these situations, the answer is always go big because like that extra 500 or 1,000 a man or whatever it is, right? It's always the right answer. Just to like go overboard because you'll just never forget. I mean, it was great. It worked out, but yeah, like it was tough. I was in the kitchen, I think, streaming. Yeah. I had Amelia was there. My wife, I think she was my fiance at the time. And like if I would have gone, I would have gone overboard. Hopefully when we do our next one, because there will be another something and somewhere. We just got to blow the roof off it. And I know you're like that. You like to go, to the wall as well. Now Matty Ice, he's like an international superstar in his own right. He was just on the podcast. He's flying high. Kmart we had there too. That was a lot of fun, man. What a character.
Jeff, you're a bad influence on me, man. You are because literally my biggest purchase in my life, my largest purchase, number one, most outlandish, most ridiculous, was the Streamhouse Marathon 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I probably blew, I'm talking like 15% of life roll on a 1-month rental in the Caribbean, dude. And we got hurricaned out, dude. Hurricane, 3 days in. We were booked for a month of like food catering in a ridiculous spot. I mean, you and Bill are bad influences, dude. I'm just playing catch up. I mean, listen, that house was a dent, and the hurricane was like extra painful for me.
That's a crazy story too, because I think we have some credits somewhere down deep under. I don't know if those will ever get used. I don't know if that's salvageable. I don't think Bill's gonna, Bill's not crying for a rebate or anything by any means, but I would definitely, be looking into taking that, and maybe not even for streaming, just to go down and enjoy that house for a week or so. I'm actually helping Bill with his heads up, setting up this thing with Landon Tyson. I'm gonna bring that up. Don't let me forget. Let's see if we can get a couple Caribbean credits out of left field and get that done, because that would have been fun. But in the meantime, for those, everyone knows Jamie here. We're on Twitch, we're streaming live. People follow your channel. What is the current content, the current channel, the thing that you're most excited about? Is it YouTube? Is it Twitch? Is it TikTok? You're doing a lot of different stuff right now. What do you like the most in terms of content creation currently?
It's kind of a two-pronged thing for me. My main show is Twitch, Poker Staples. That's where I do my mainstream, my full grinds, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12-hour days sometimes, playing tournaments, and you get to see every hand that I play, the analysis, all of it, right? So you'll find me out there on the Party Poker streets. And then, but that doesn't always work for everyone, right? Like, you know, people have careers, they have families, you know, they don't always get to see the hype moments and make the time in their life. So we take those streams, cut them down to, you know, 15 to 30-minute highlights, release that on Facebook and YouTube. And then we further cut it down to like 4-minute highlights, release that on Instagram. And then we cut it down to little tiny clips and we release those on Instagram and TikTok. So really, whatever kind of commitment, whatever kind of poker fan you are, whether you have a minute a day or whether you have an hour, there's something available for you to check out some poker content, learn a few things, have some fun, and sweat the game. So that's kind of how it works.
Very nice. And can you tell at this point in your career what you've learned to be the most valuable, maybe for someone who's starting? You know, there's a lot of streamers now, a lot of poker, a lot of competition, a lot of people in the space. It's great. But like someone who's coming up and coming, what would be something maybe like a hack you would give to someone who's streaming that's like maybe think, oh, this is overwhelming, or, you know, maybe that extra spending a little bit more or hiring someone? What have you done that you think like is a mandatory thing that you would recommend to any streamer or content creator out there that's streaming on Twitch or doing YouTube videos that you would recommend to kind of grow their channels or their platform?
I think you need to lean into the things that make you unique and different. I see so many new streamers and they try and do the same things that everyone else is doing. They show up and they register 6 or 7 tables of the same tournaments that all the other streamers are playing. And then they stream a session and they hope that people are going to come and watch. But like, that's not a recipe for success, right? Because effectively, me and you, the new streamer, are competing. So why are they going to watch you over me? You know, I've been around for 6 years. They know me. We're playing the same tournaments. So like, you have to create a reason as to why people are going to resonate with you. And you could be a better player. You could be more informative, but there's some great, amazing players on Twitch Poker. We know, Jeff, that's a tough game to play. To be the best player on Twitch Poker, well, you're going to have to be pretty damn good. But you could be funny, right? You could specialize in, oh, I love playing Omaha tournaments. So half the time I play Omaha tournaments. You're going to have a lot easier chance to stand out leaning into your differences, you know? You could try and create a community around being from New Zealand, dude. You could reach out to New Zealand streamers or English streamers or Canadian streamers. Like, all of these things allow you to stand out in a way that people are more likely to be interested in you than just being another grinder on Twitch. So I think that's the way.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And what about though, in terms of like content and having someone to help, like what types of, you know, you have B-Car, obviously, Ed K, you know, we have, we're fortunate, we're sponsored. We got Party Poker, got a lot of love for them and all the resources and things they do to help us to promote ourselves and give us, you know, tickets and things to help. Like, what would you say to someone who's starting up in terms of, you know, you need an editor, you need this, like, what would be an important person to have, moderator? What are some of the, who, I guess, give me your team. What does a Poker Staples team consist of? And give me some like kind of hacks on that, like what you would recommend is important for someone who really wants to be all in on content and creation.
Well, things have changed a little bit since we started with Party Poker, and that they help us take care of some of that stuff, which is something we sort of voiced as important and like a stressing point for us as players and content creators. Like, it was one of our most difficult aspects of our job was like, hey, we have all these things and we need some help to do them. So they've stepped up and helped in some regards. But video editor, I think, is big, you know, like being able to take an 8-9 hour stream and instead of it just dying into existence forever and never to be seen again, you can create 20, 30 different pieces of content from that 9-hour show. You can get some clips for Instagram, some clips for Twitter, get some videos for YouTube and for Facebook, you know, some small content for TikTok, Snapchat, what have you. So that's a really useful use of time. You know, if you're just going to 9 hours day after day, grind it out, that's cool. But you can turn that into 40 hours of content for 9 hours of work if you can get people to help that. So that's nice. But I think when you're starting, it's like, that's a few steps down the road. You know, I think start by trying to get some moderators and people will help you out for free and say, hey, I'm trying to get some help with this channel. Are you interested in helping some people? And people are great, dude. Like, if you ask, people will help you, you know, like they'll help you with your social media. They'll help you grab some clips. They'll help you and moderate your channel. I think start there and then grow as you start to make some money, if that's sort of the target of what you're trying to do.
For sure. Well, this actually just came up in the chat, and it's something that I have. You actually brought to my attention. I'm on here, and before I forget, I do want to ask you about any two, because this is something I know you've been working on, you're passionate about. I like it. It works well. I've done some hands. To be honest, I've been sort of MIA on there, so I apologize for those that have subscribed and have said I have answered hands. But could you maybe just give me like a quick rundown on what this is, how it works, and what what utility does this have in the space of poker and tools and engagement? What are some of the things that people can get out of this, and how does it work?
The quick and easy way to describe it is Any2 is kind of like OnlyFans for poker hands, dude. It's like individual creators can make content and people can subscribe and access it. Now, instead of naked photos here, we are talking about poker hands, and you can post on Any2 as a content creator. You can post videos. You can post hand reviews and text blog posts, and then also you can review other people's hands. So Any2 is a way that you can get one-on-one access with professionals for like a small monthly fee. And not only that, you can subscribe to like a bunch. So if you're looking for opinions from 5 or 6 pros, you can subscribe, submit your hand, and get feedback from them in regards to like, oh, I like your play, or I didn't like it so much. So it's a way to get access. That's really what Any2 is. Get access to great poker players for a small amount per month, learn from them, and ask them questions.
There you go. There you have it. Well, I like it. I've used it. I wish I would have using it more, but I do know that you are a catalyst for this and use it. And I know they made some updates on the software and features too, and how it's presented, and it is cool. Let's real quick run through some of your socials here. Again, on Party Poker, Jaime Staples and I co-manage Party Poker Team Online, so you can take a look at his profile there. He's got Instagram 2. He's one of the only 2 guys that he has the 2. He's got 2 on Twitter, 2 on Instagram. Poker Staples, Jaime Staples. Give him a follow on there, and then of course on Twitter. Which is your which platform do you enjoy to kind of socially? Like if you're scrolling or just sort of wasting time, seeing what's happening in the world in content, what do you like more, Twitter, Instagram, or just?
I'm on the Twitter, dude. I'm on the Twitter for like wasting time, because I like hearing people's thoughts,
Right.
I saw Marley Cordero tweeted out something about like, if you don't like Twitter, I respect you so much more. For me, it's like, okay, yeah, I get that. You can tap out of the world and just live your life. But to me, I'm really interested in what people think about things and like changing perspectives and current events, what's happening in the world. So like Twitter's my jam, dude. It does work me up sometimes. I get tilted and like I have lots of shower arguments about why I think things are stupid, but I like it, dude. I don't know. It's people. Twitter is people. It's a conversation. It's good.
I agree. I think it's fun. I mean, it depends. Instagram is it's great, but it's also sort of a rabbit hole. And I like to say, for the excuse for ourselves, because we are in the world. Like I think Instagram is probably a big time suck for most people. It's nice to kind of see. I keep an eye on like what other people are doing in the poker community. Obviously, friends get to see like kind of my age. I'm older. People have kids. You get to kind of whatever. But it is nice to kind of see and get a style for how people are doing things and how they're putting their content out. So I like to say it's working. And my wife ever gives me a hard time, like, why are you on Instagram? Like, look, I'm sort of just feeling out everything, making sure I'm on track. But it can be a little bit of a rabbit hole. What is TikTok as well? I haven't dove in there. I have one, I haven't used it, but you I know you got pretty big on TikTok. You're a TikTok fan, right?
You got to get in there, man. TikTok is like a breath of fresh air. You know how it gets like I don't know, it can get a little heavy on the other platforms, like Instagram, like you said, it's a curated, like, here's what I want you to think my life is. And sometimes it can actually be that, but like you can make it up. Like there's not a lot of authenticity
right
in Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
TikTok's the conversation, but it gets heavy, it gets hostile, people get angry. TikTok, dude, is just like free flying, funny, relaxed. Like there's no drama. It's just all quite interesting. And I'm talking to like 18 to 25-year-olds on TikTok, which I'm not engaging with them on any other platform, So it's nice to like, I don't know, just feel that like youthful enthusiasm and optimism and excitement for life and just like happiness, because it can get sucked away by people in the 30s and 40s and 50s that don't feel that way, bro. You know what I mean? It's just like that leaves and I don't want to lose it. I'm into it.
You want to hold on to that.
Happy. Yeah. I want to keep flowing, man.
I love it. I love it. Well, we gotta give a little plug for Party Poker here, because it is the WPT time. I am not in a jurisdiction at the exact moment that I can play. I get, I get anxiety, separation anxiety. I miss it. I want to fire. I want to be in there. Jamie, you're in there. You're playing. The main event is coming day one. I believe A is Sunday. Day one, B is the following Sunday. There's always a chance. Maybe I'll zoom out, try to get in there, hit like a late reg into a day two miracle run. Tell me what's your plan for WPT and where can people, are they going to be following you on that journey? Are you playing just the main? Are you playing full schedule? Give me your WPT party poker routine here coming up.
Main event for sure. 100%. Main event is like a book it Sunday, day 1A, Sunday, day 1B if I have to. So that's really what I'm focusing around. The rest of the schedule, my approach this summer is really like I'm trying to create some structure and some balance. I feel like I've been cooped up in this pandemic for so long. Like I can't wait to get outside, exercise, and enjoy some sun, So I'm trying to like build a playing schedule around times of day. So when I wake up in the morning, I want to start streaming, I want to finish, and then I want to go outside and sort of, exercise, do some study in the evening. So whatever fits into that, basically, long story short. Main event I'm in, but the rest of the schedule, whatever fits into my streaming hours, hopefully I can put in 40 hours a week and get a few of them in there.
Very nice. And what is your typical, how has your schedule evolved over your Twitch career? How have you, we're used to be just like wake up, roll out of bed, stream until you couldn't stream anymore. Now do you have like set routine? Have you gotten more optimized in this, or do you kind of still just like, you just try to fire as much as possible?
It changes all the time. I mean, it's like, it's all over the place. And you know what it's like, especially before like traveling with tournament stops, you just stop streaming for like 17 days and you come back, you're like, oh, like I feel so bad. Like I need to stream a lot. And then you stream hard and then you burn out and then you chill out, then you go play a tournament. Like it's a mess, So sometimes I'm on the late schedule, sometimes on the early schedule. Right now, it's like wake up and start streaming because it's a heavy task, as you know. It's like it weighs on you for the whole day. Like, oh, I got to do a broadcast. So I find my best success in terms of life, happiness, and good shows when I make it the first thing I do, basically, and then do the rest of the stuff later. So that's kind of the plan this summer is wake up, stream.
Where are you currently? And you kind of said something that I don't want to say worried me, but I've never because I'd say you're one of the more even keeled demeanor. You handle bad beats and adversity about as good as anyone that I've ever seen streaming. I think that's a huge tool in your tool chest, that you really are balanced on your the highs and lows, at least from what I've seen in terms of running. But I heard you say that I have to like throw fire. Like, where are you on a 1 to 100 scale in terms of stream enjoyment? Because this happens in poker players all the time. I hear people that are playing for a living, or at least when I played more, right? When I was like live and going to all this stuff and around, and I could see people that weren't really into it, or pros that like, they get to play at cards for a living, do something that's fun and whatever, and they kind of got out of it. Where are you on your enjoyment level with streaming and content now? Because you're a vet. I mean, you've been around for a long time. You're one of the OGs. For those that don't know, there's Jason Somerville and basically Jaime Staples. I mean, is that fair? You were like the second major streamer. So I mean, you got 100 and let's just take a look down accolade lane here. I mean, you've got massive followings on socials. You've got 146,000 on Twitch Poker, which is one of the largest, I think, top 3, 2, up there, whatever. It's on the podium. You're in there. You've got a huge following. For sure, one of the top guys, and always get massive numbers. Where are you? People do burn out. We've seen it. Tonka. We've seen Carver. These are guys that are on Mount Rushmore of streaming, and they get tired. Like they said, they burn out. It's exhausting. You do it a lot. So where are you? Have you ever burnt out? Are you burnt out at all right now? Are you at
7 times at least? At least seven times I've burnt out on streaming, for sure. Okay. Like the fluctuations in excitement and happiness for streaming are regular. Like it happens all the time, bro. Like in December, January, I was like 95. I was like, give it to me. I need to sleep now so I can wake up earlier so I can go live. Like, let's go. Day after day, 6 days a week, hitting it. Like March, when we're running on 3 months of overcast and it's still minus 20, I'm like, bro, I am like a 15 tops. Like, I just want to not play poker for the next 2 weeks and read a book, Right now, I'm like 50, dude. But not because I don't like poker. It's because it's 28 degrees outside and we've been cooped up in lockdown for like 15 months, So it's like, I'm instituting some discipline and some balance in my life of like, okay, wake up, do your work, and then go play and have the sun and get the exercise and like live life. But I can tell you, Jeff, I would make a bet, September 4th, the number's going to be 80. Like I'm going to be super hyped up. And then it'll be 20 in October. And then it'll be 100 again in December. Like it moves, dude. And that's part of being a streamer, as part of being a poker player. You employ yourself. You use your own motivation, and like you have to be able to ride through those swings and still do a good job at the end of the day and sustain it. So yeah.
I just had a idea, and this is unscripted. This is unplanned. Jamie and I aren't here, and I just kind of I get hyped up thinking about things. Jamie, what about, can we do, because I was thinking like schedule wise, to be fair, we have discussed about me coming to Montreal for like a month or something. I did think we threw that out there, like, trying to figure out something to work. Would it be at your house, another house, whatever, like where I could maybe rent another place, but we have a thing. Listen, what do you think about August? That's the time, because I was thinking Montreal, there's weather parameters there, right? Like WSOP announced October, November, basically the end of September through November. I'm probably going to be in there and hitting it. I probably just can't help myself. I have a condo in Vegas. It's been a long time. I want to get in there. Right. I want to get there. So like that's kind of out the window. September, I'm going to be in Brazil streaming, doing stuff. I'm running out of months, and Montreal has weather pockets as well. Dude, it's like, what about August? Could we do something in August? Could we put out, like, is that a possibility to do like Streamhouse August? Is that in the table? What are you doing? What's your schedule? Can we do it?
It's on the table, dude. August, early September might be nice though too. It's still nice early September. It's 22, 23 degrees. Big series pop up in September. I mean, things get kind of lazy and kind of slow last 2 weeks of August, but then it picks up. People are like, oh, it's back to school. It's back to work. It's back to business. And then Twitch goes up. So I think like last 2 weeks of August, first 2 weeks of September, we can do something then. I'm here for it 100%.
I'm thinking about, we got friends in Montreal as well. And we got sponsors. We got firepower there. We got Phil, JK, we got Playground Poker in Montreal. They're building the hotel there. It got put on pause. COVID has been hard in that vicinity of the world. I know, like, things are closed. I got friends there telling me it's crazy. Things are shut down. I'm thinking I'm going to put it out to Playground. I haven't talked to them in the last couple of weeks. This isn't scripted. I'm going to put it on Playground's plate. We're gonna try to do something big in Montreal. I'm saying end of August, September. I have no idea. Those guys have always been supportive. I'm just basically putting pressure on them, on their head right now to deny it, to deny us. Don't deny us, but we're going to come with a big project. I think that's what I would like to do in collaboration with Party Poker, obviously, Playground Poker, who's a partner with Party. Those guys, it's a good thing, man. I think we should put that out there. I know Matty Ice will be down. We could figure something big out. I think we got to go big, man. What do we, I got a baby. I got you. I'm married. You're engaged. You're going to have babies hopefully soon too. It gets harder. I'll tell you what, the dream of poker and traveling, doing whatever, whenever, it's harder. I can promise you. So maybe we got to strike, man. I'm putting it out there. August, early September. Let's try to do something major. So I don't know what that means, but are you, I don't have to ask you. I know you'll be in.
I'm of course in. I'm 100% in. I'm game. I don't have kids. I don't have mortgages. I'm still a free bird. I mean, we can't do the like travel the world and all live in the house anymore. That ship has sailed. That's dead. That's dead. But we can do this, and it's a thing. I'm here for it. I'm ready.
We could do something big. I'm all about it. Let me just say this. I got to say, you personally, and Matt, I was asking him because being your brother is not easy, right? Like, you pushed the limit. Matt was like he was Poker Staples PA. Let's not forget, that was his Twitch name. He was sort of in the shadow of Jaime Staples. You guys did the weight loss challenge, which was epic. I think I've been in poker a long time. I've been in wagering prop bets, one of the sickest prop bets of all time. We could I'm not going to get strike copyrighted because this is my own vlog content here, but the weigh-in, right? This is great. Yeah. And they're not going to strike me. So this was great. All-time moment, 150K wager, big bet, big money on the line. You guys hit a big bet. I had some money riding a pretty large wager myself. It was exciting because it came down to even the scale could be off. You knew you were there. You knew you had it. But give me like a little time, dude. What were you thinking at this moment? Like, what was the heart rate? Kmart does his heart rate thing on stream.
It was high, but I was trying to get my legs from stop moving, dude. My legs were shaking so hard. The number wouldn't lock in because it was such a finicky scale that like any movement, it wouldn't lock. So I was just trying to stay still. And like,
Matt, look how big Matt is there, dude. He doesn't even look recognizable.
He's huge, dude.
Wow.
dude, it was surreal at that moment. Like I had no, it wasn't registering yet. It was just like we were in the pocket, and we had been in the pocket for 365 days. So it's like you're still like in the fight basically at that point. Like my brain had not snapped out of game mode yet. And then like I think both of us recognized it was a big opportunity in the following days. So I was like, okay, we kind of got to make the most of this. So it was crazy, dude. I mean, looking back on it, I can't believe that whole year. Definitely the most hectic year of my life I will ever have was that year, dude. Like we lived in 6 places,
And so this is what I want to hit on, because I was asking Matt, because like it was tricky for him, I think, because he wanted to put his head down and grind. He needed to still build his sort of like name and reputation. You were sort of like Twitch superstar already. You've done your work, right? You put those 12, 14-hour days for weeks at a time, probably had a decatheter, weren't using the breath. Like you were just grinded. You had done that. And Matt's sort of like, I need to stream. I need to do whatever. How hard do you think that was for Matt? And like, could you feel, was there times of frustration, or was there some disagreement along the way where like, you're like, hey, we got to go to the next spot. You're basically like you're like a traveling band. You're like a tour. You're packing your stuff up. You're flicking it in, going around, firing off, but spending a lot of money and doing a lot of traveling, a lot of ambitious projects. Like, how do you think that was difficult on Matt? And looking back, would you have done it differently for yourself, or do you think that was the only way to do it in that moment in time?
I think if we would have done it differently, we would have lost. I think it was actually a pretty important aspect to why we won, because it kept us really busy. It kept us like, it kept our brains off of the pain and struggle of like that whole experience, which was just really fucking hard, dude. It's just like a really, really hard thing, like eating 1,400 calories and walking 90 minutes a day for 365 days, and then working out. And then Matt, like bulking so hard, he would like take 2 naps a day, like just mashing food. I think moving actually really helped us because it gave us something fresh to surround ourselves with. It allowed us to change up a routine and like not go crazy. If we were posted up in our hometown and like every day what we had to look forward to was literally starving or stuffing our face, like, no, we wouldn't have done well. We would have been like right off the 75K. Let's do it another day, right? Or the 150 total. So I think that was really, really quite important. But it also was like so hectic, man. Like really, really so crazy when I think about it. We spent that time in 6 different countries, and then we had to organize like logistics of moving to different countries and then keeping a stream up, and then like the weight bet. So it's just like
I get that. I get that aspect of it, but like I'm just also like in my head, it's like you go to Cabo, go to Montreal, go somewhere, get an amazing sick house and like blow it out and just straight. Cause like I just feel like I hear your point of view, but I guess I'm like challenging / wondering, because I get that freshness of it, but it also, man, I'll tell you, I got in my setup, I got 4 30-inch LGs. I got a nice, comfortable chair, good internet. I feel great. On the road, it's like a road game, man. It's like athletics. Like you're in the dingy ass locker room. You got low quality thread count. You're on the different spaces. Your internet may crash. You got to travel. I mean, I know in Costa Rica you take your travel setup. I can't think of one thing that would be more tilting, I think, than to like get out and pack up. Like when you actually pack that house up, give me a scale. How upsetting is it to pack your shit up? Like it's got to be a hard. And maybe you're so used to it now, but that seems like so much equipment, going to the airport, sending stuff in. It could get damaged, lost. You multiple bags. You got wires, stuff like that. That process of packing and unpacking. I guess unpacking is less fun or less bad because it's sort of like exciting. You're like looking forward to getting it up and make sure it's running, but it's still, both are like tough, I think. And mine's just a laptop and a little side monitor. And I really don't enjoy it. Like, cause that always gives me anxiety when I go to a new place. I don't know the internet, Airbnb, is it going to work? How, like all these little headaches that people don't understand. But for you, how
that's
annoying
youth,
is that?
bro? That's youth, right? That's what I'm talking about, man. You got to surround yourself with like to me, thinking about that right now, I'm just like, oh, what an insane hassle. That is like, I do not want to move houses every 2 months. I just don't want to do it. It's just insane. It's like crazy. But back then it was just like, well, what else would I do? Like, of course you have to do it, right? So it's just one of those things that we did because we were in the pocket and that's what our life was. You know, it was like, I had this philosophy at the time of like, the world's big, our time is limited. We've got to go to new places or else we're never going to see them, you know? And that was it. So it was just like, we go to new spots.
Sounds like a good plug for Die with Zero. That's a good book. Our friend
Memory Dividends. There we go, man.
Yeah,
that's
Memory
it.
Dividends. It's big. But yeah, so no, I get it, and I agree. There is a time and a place, and I think it's also you can miss that opportunity, or at least have to wait a lot longer if you don't get out and do it. So what I hear you saying is you like your decisions. You know, maybe things could have been a little different, or you would have done, if you did differently, it would be one thing. But you know, those are the moments that going. You know, we were there for Scoop and what was it? The island in Canada, right? Victoria. You know, that was fun. Yeah. Like going to these places, doing these different things. It is fun. You get to kind of memorize and get those memory dividends. So you wouldn't really do anything over if you could. Is there anything though you would change a bit? Even like length of stay in places, or you think you did it pretty optimal?
Well, Bucharest didn't work out. So I went to Bucharest for like 2 weeks and realized with my PokerStars account, I couldn't play in Bucharest because of some law in Bucharest. I needed to have a European account. I didn't have one. Oh, so wow. that was an annoying 3-week detour where we were just sitting in, like, it was pretty bad flat, dude. Like it was not a nice place at all. And it was just like very hot. We didn't have anything, kind of run down. And we're just sitting there for 2 weeks, like trying to find a house to where we can keep the stream going. Wow. I would have done that differently. But in general, I think it's like the good and the bad is all learning experiences, right? Like back to Bill Perkins' thing, memory dividends, dude. I look back at all of those places in that year, and like for the rest of my life, I have a smile on my face when I think about it. You know, like it was just worth it to have done it. You know, so yeah, no regrets. It was crazy.
And what's your most fond place? I guess what's your most fond streaming setup that you just like loved it, where it was exciting, you just so nice and enjoyable? And maybe here even, I mean, so you got some art, those are some scores. Can you talk about the art and maybe talk about this? And 2 questions. We'll go to the art afterward. What's your favorite setup place you've been for like an extended period of time to stream?
Split Croatia. Nothing to do with the stream setup. The stream setup was very basic and fine, but it was just like it's just an amazing place, dude. It's like on the Mediterranean. We had a really great routine where we would wake up. I mean, this was like, I just started with Raise Your Edge too. I was going so hard in the paint. We'd vlog every day, wake up, grab coffee on the ocean. You know, we were all single at the time, so some very pretty girls in Croatia were sipping espressos. People walking by in bikinis on the Mediterranean. It was unbelievable, dude. We're 3 months into the weight loss bet, and then we'd hike up this hill called Marjan Hill, and there was like, I don't know, 250 steps maybe to the top, like a huge hill. And it became like a daily pilgrimage. It was like a religious experience almost, of like, this is what we need to do to win this insane bet. You know, you come back down, you see the place, get back to the spot. We had a cook that we paid like, I don't know, $300 a month or something. And she made us amazing chicken skewers for me, and then grilled cheese sandwiches for Matt, like every day. And then I'd stream for 8 hours, and then I'd study for 2 hours. I'd sleep, and we'd do it again. And we did that for 2.5 months every day. Wow. And it was just like, we were just crushing, you know, and we were vlogging every day too. It was just like, everything was firing full cylinder, and it was just such a happy time because everything was going right. And the environment was like the dream, you know, like, how did I get to be here? Like, I belong in a small town in Alberta, and here I am, you know, in Croatia, like taking on Bill Perkins in a 150K weight loss bet. Like, what has happened? It kind of hit me there. So I love that place. I want to go back post-COVID. I want to go back for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that moment when we were in Virgin Islands. We were at Bill's house, and someone. I gotta find this person. Maybe they're here watching now. You never know, because they could be here. The name, I think I did see a clip of it, or we found it, or we did revisit.
Yeah, Matt tweeted it out a few days ago.
The person who put the question out, like,
he tweeted the moment that Bill offered the bet. He found the video and he tweeted it, basically, like, you know, that was the spot.
Yeah, we need to thank someone, because that idea was brilliant, and they really did spar. FLOWBOUNTY is the name of who we get confirmation. Ghost of M doesn't miss much, and he does have that. So at FLOWBOUNTY, if you're still on Twitch, if you're around, if you see this, please whisper Ghost of M, and let's I don't know. I got to think of something nice. I'm going to do something nice for you because that worked out well for everyone. That was a lot of fun and some great content. He looks like he's not on at least live at the moment. I just typed him in there. But anyway, yeah, that was a big time moment. And what was going through your head? What percent? I think we've covered this a bit, but like how let's take the two bets because I don't want to bring up not the fun part, but you did run it back on a different type of bet, the body fat. Like how exciting and how realistic did you know, what percent chance did you think you actually could get that done, the first part of that wager? Like, were you pretty confident? I mean, Mike Vacanti, did you even consult or you just basically took it, right? Like
I didn't know Mike at that point.
Oh, you didn't even know Mike. Okay. No. So you basically just said the odds are too good, right? Like whatever, of course. Like what worst case, lose a bit. Yeah.
50-1, but I was pretty certain I could do it. Like I had experiences before where I'd gone on sort of like extreme crash diets. And so I'd known that I can drop weight quickly. I'd had that experience. And then 50-1 on 2K, like immediately my head, or 3K to 150. My head was immediately like, this is profitable whether we win or not. Like, who cares about the 3K? This is an interesting story for people to follow along with for the whole year. So my head went to like content of like, hey, we can try. It doesn't matter if we win or not. It's a fun thing to try. So like, yeah, book, Insta. Matt was a little bit more reluctant, but then he was like, okay. And that was it. So
and then just again, I don't want to spend a lot of time. We did mention this before. We've covered several things just on the run it back, right? Where Bill, you gave the chance to get the body percent fat. What do you think realistically? What do you think would have been like based on the bet terms, the 50K to 150 in that one? Because it's a little different, much different odds and situation. What do you think the real odds were? And do you think maybe at that point, I think Matt touched on this on like what was important, where you were at, and just like what was actually feasible. That one just kind of lost some steam where you just, kind of at some point knew it wasn't going to happen. But what would you have said about that overall? What was your overall sort of feeling on that whole wager? And do you think it was good you took it? You think you could have done something differently, or it just wasn't the right place and time and just wasn't going to work out based on, you're streaming a lot and it was much more difficult? What do you think?
Yeah, so I don't regret taking it because I think with the information that I had at the time, it was a reasonable bet to take, like I personally was on top of the world, I was like, we just won the bet. I've got my girlfriend, soon to be fiance. We're hanging out in a city, we did it. It's going crazy. It's in Men's Health, it's on Good Morning America. So I'm confident at this point, obviously, that I can do this. And then my trainer, Mike Vacanti, sort of felt the same way. And he's like, this is definitely physically possible. And you've shown like the work ethic and discipline needed to do this. So I think you can do it. And I was like, well, I think I can too. And then again, my head snapped to content of like, we try and make this happen. And if we do it, it's maybe one of the craziest health things that have ever happened. If two brothers end up getting sub 10% body fat in 2 years, like that's fitness, fame, and stardom and endorsements and like huge money on the line, I think. And if it doesn't work, then it's still an interesting story and we try. So it's like, okay, let's take it, let's try. I mean, it ended up not working out in that I don't think I realized the effect that the crazy hamster wheel that we were on, like staying busy and like how much work that first bet was. And then the first half of the second bet was, I didn't really realize the effect that was taking on me, but like it hit me mid-year and it was like, oof, like, nope, that's a wall. Like, for sure. It was like, I can remember the moment kind of distinctly because we were doing DEXA scans. And so the goal is to get sub 10% body fat, right? And so I went for a scan, I got the number, and I don't know what the percentage was, but it was normal. And then I worked out like 6 days a week. And then I was doing core 3 times a day. This was in Victoria. I went back and the body fat percentage was higher after like a month of work. I couldn't really figure it out. Mike couldn't figure it out. Bill couldn't figure it out. He's like, oh, the scale is wrong, or like it's a wrong reading. But at that point, it was like, that was kind of a shift of like, I couldn't take that news, it was just like too hard. And that was kind of like the moment that the bet was was GG in my head. I was like,
Yeah, actually, we were together in Victoria around that time, and I vaguely remember where I started towards the end of Scoop, and we remember we were talking. It looked like, I think that was where you're kind of like, this one may not be getting done. But anyway, whatever. Legendary stuff. Listen, prop bets, you can't win every one, and again, the one you did is that was the important one. You did it. You got the memories. We have videos to prove it. There's content. There's memories. People still talk about it to this day. And it's all time stuff. All right, let me ask you, where do you see the current state of poker with what's going on? COVID's been crazy for gaming, for poker, for content, for Twitch. Obviously, numbers are up. Things are kind of progressing in a fast way. What is your take of the current landscape? Because we always talk about this too with you and myself. We talk about USA, right? Like if USA comes back online, it's going to be massive. We see Pennsylvania, we see my home state of Michigan. My dad's playing there now on Party Poker in Michigan. Nice. Awesome. Love to see that. It's nice that I know if I go back there, I got my setup, I can stream some party and play there. The intrastate conversations in play, right? If you have New Jersey, Nevada, you put in Pennsylvania, Delaware, a couple other states looking to come online, Michigan, that's actually like a pretty viable network all of a sudden. Maybe they get plugged into the real whole network even, right? Maybe those are able to tie into the real world. Why not, right? Like what's the difference? So what are your thoughts? Are you bullish, bearish, unsure? Do you think it's hotter than ever? You see the numbers. How about WPT Florida, 2,500 basically entrants in the WPT, a record by about 25%. I mean, think 1,800, 1,795 is a previous record. People are in there with masks on and plexiglass, and they're bursting down the door to play poker. Poker seems hot. That's my take. What do you think?
It's a mixed bag for me. Like poker is as amazing as it was 15 years ago. The game is great. It's incredible, right? I think the competition we have online and live is stronger than it's been since pre-Black Friday, right? Sites are fighting. They're out there battling, trying to create good stuff for players, and that's great for poker players. Live operators, like you said, breaking records, like huge amounts of attendance. And just wait until COVID is even better. I think it's going to go wild. Like, I think people cannot wait to play. I am one of those people. But on the other side, I think regulatory issues in Europe and in Asia and like constant restricting of people to play against each other from around the world is a big problem. And it seems to continually get worse. I see regulation that's coming out in Germany. I see regulation that's coming out in Northern Europe and in the UK. I mean, things that really make it hard for people to play against each other. That is a big problem. And I don't know if there is a solution, because I think a lot of the companies that are operating in poker is a part of their business, right? Their business also contains sportsbook and casino and so poker is usually a smaller part of their business than those other aspects. And from their perspective, why do they need to fight these regulations and fight for poker when they have these much more profitable verticals? So I view that as a pretty big problem, and I hope we can figure it out. The US could lead the way. They may be the opportunity if we experience sort of a intrastate, close to nationwide poker in the USA. Culturally, that could have a big effect on the rest of the world. But it is getting more restrictive in Europe, and that's a problem, I think.
Yeah, again, it sort of just seems like nothing quite comes together perfectly. It's just sort of like every time there's a tick the right direction, it goes two steps back. Even like Party Poker, it's unfortunate it had to pull out of Poland. I believe Costa Rica, a lot of the market share, and Party's thriving. Big software updates, all kinds of great news for Party Poker. The app is unbelievable. It is. I know, like I played in a lot of apps, a lot of software. It's got the best app, which is really nice to be able to play online. And then all of a sudden, then this happens, or there's the limit on deposits, or this or that. It just seems like it's always kind of like not all lining up, and hopefully it will. And I think I think it's a good chance that we haven't seen that the largest influx and peak in poker. But of course, it's still a sweat. It's still hard to know. But a lot of U.S. Tax states like are looking for revenue and taxes with COVID and online. It's a big proving. Like all of a sudden, casinos are down, Vegas goes down. Stuff is kind of gets affected, and this is definitely a solution. I think one of the ways that people see that revenue could be done. It's also kind of crazy that daily fantasy is legal in almost all the states, but like poker,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Makes no sense. Like how come you can play daily fantasy, but you can't control poker? And actually US has legalized sports gambling at a federal level, which is massive news because now it's up to state by state. That was like a huge deal. And I think a lot of poker is going to piggyback on the upcoming year or two. So we'll see.
The thing is, as well, is I think poker needs to get off of, it needs to avoid being grouped in with the rest of casino.
Right.
Because that is where all of the problems come from a regulatory perspective of like, you know, the social harms that come from casino are real. And in poker, they're a lot less, you know, like the dangers of someone becoming a problem gambler in slot machines as opposed to at a poker table. Those are very different things. And yet they're regulated in the same way. And that's a problem for us, and that we get the short end of the stick all the time when the risk doesn't match the protections. So we need to piggyback on these other laws that make more money for businesses that are pushing them through Congress, right? But then also we need to avoid and get away from them because they tarnish our game in the name. So it's a really big problem, and the financial incentives aren't aligned from my perspective, in that the big businesses and the big companies that are pushing this forward aren't fighting for the good of poker. They're fighting for bottom line profits, as they should. So how do we fix that problem? I feel like we need a maverick, right? We need a big business, big dollar maverick to take the problem by the horns and push it forward. I don't have enough money or enough ability to be that person, but hopefully someone is there that can make that happen.
For sure. No, I mean, you know, we're again saying the same thing. I think we see pretty much the same thing that's going on, and it's going to be interesting how it all kind of shakes out. And again, the competition is huge. Like we said, we were with Poker Stars. You, myself, you, we left. Kevin Martin left. Some other people left that were, you know, Stars had a monopoly on Twitch, on streaming, on whatever. And now, you know, Party Poker forms Team Online. You see 888 making moves. GG is thriving and popping. There's ACR. There's like legitimately a bunch of with ACRs too. There's like 6-7 sites that are legitimately have people that they are pushing content, putting guarantees, and there's something for everyone, right? Like even Party, you could say, well, it doesn't have, you know, look at they have what is it, $3 million guaranteed WPT. I'm just looking at the schedule here, day 1A on Sunday. What is it?
3 million. 3 million guarantee. Yeah.
3 million guaranteed online tournament. That's massive. But on a daily basis on Party Poker, for example, there's a lot of $125, $200, 77 daily legends. There is stuff that you can play. And listen, it's nice to have an option. You want to play on some other sites, maybe there's bigger guarantees on a weekday or bigger buy-ins, but there's something for everyone. It's kind of fun to play 200 turbo or $100 knockout or a gladiator that takes 2, 3, 5, 6 hours, not a 12-hour or 2-day tournament. So it's kind of cool for a poker player that if there are multi-table tournaments, that you have different options and different formats to play now. And the competition is huge because now there is no monopoly. They it's just better for everyone. So it's really, I think it's been the last 2-3 years we've seen a big shift in that. And also a reason why I think poker is growing is because of the content creators. Because all the people are streaming on Twitch, putting out YouTube content, yourself, Matt, Lex, Finton, Spraggy, Tonka, like all these guys, Pav, I can name 20, 30 streamers that at Cordy B that have like a actual production line of content, which is great to show the game, show people how that it is a skill game, that it's fun, that you can work on your game. I can name 30 people, right, that are off the top of my head that are doing a lot and that are really putting a big effort in. So yeah, I think the industry is in great shape. I think it's becoming less of negative connotations in poker, and I think it's really fun to be a part of right now. And let's go to the art. I got to segue into the art. What's going on with the art? You get tell people the deal. You, after certain scores on stream, you buy art. So what do you got there? What do those scores represent, and what is that about?
Yeah, so it's a 5K or more score for a piece of art. Subject to change. If we hit too many scores at once, it's like, whoa, we're spending a bit too much on art. Let's slow down. So these are a few pieces behind me. This one here I've had since Calgary, so 5 years. Inga is their name. It is he, she. It might be a goat. It's really tough to tell. An absolute classic. We got Pablo back there. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Like, arts and culture, I think, is great. It's the flavor of life, and if you don't make a time for it and an excuse to purchase art or to read books or to listen to music, I mean, most people are too busy where they just don't include it in their life. So for me, I like art, and this is like how I regiment making it part of my life. I tie it into poker because we don't get trophies for winning online poker tournaments. We don't get any recognition except for dollars in our bank account. And that means a little bit less over time, I think. So why not have some art to commemorate like moments of success?
I love it. I'm a big, my brother-in-law is big into art. I'm starting to respect it more. It's just kind of one of those things that you don't know what you don't understand. And, it's good to kind of get cultured and learn a bit on how that stuff works. So it's also very ambiguous. It's funny to see like what prices and scarcity. Obviously NFTs are big now. Crypto is kind of other world. And where's your stance on NFTs, on crypto? Like, what's your kind of thought on this overall space? It's pretty aligned with poker, right? It's just one of those things, whether you like it or don't, you hear about it, you see it. What's your stance on this crazy new world of all this stuff?
I mean, crypto blockchain tech is going to change the future forever. It's incredible. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know how it's going to shake out in terms of what projects or use cases end up becoming part of our daily life, but I think that Bitcoin will almost certainly be like the long-term store of value. So I'm a huge believer in it, and I think it's going to change the world so much for the better over the next 100 years. NFTs, I think, is like a huge revolution. I don't think people really necessarily understand yet the idea of like a digitally scarce asset and how big of a deal it is. Like I think art, for example, right? You can go to the Louvre, take a photo of the Mona Lisa. You can have the Mona Lisa on your phone. You can get a print on a T-shirt if you want of the Mona Lisa. You could have a master painter paint the Mona Lisa, and unless you were trained, you wouldn't tell the difference between the two. But the Mona Lisa is one of the most expensive paintings in the world. It'd probably sell for billions of dollars or something, right?
How much?
Billions. I don't know. I don't know how much the Mona Lisa would be, but like,
something
I
like
would
that.
assume
I
it would be
said
the most
millions, but
expensive.
probably billion level, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've basically created in the last 10 years a way for that to apply to digital things, including digital art. So like digital art had no monetary value before because you could just copy and paste it and there's no proof of the original. Like someone could say, "Oh, that's my picture. I have the copyright," but like it's not the original thing. Now you can have a digital Mona Lisa for the first time ever. Like that's a huge deal. And it's not just art, it's anything. It's any sort of form of media can have an ownership for the first time, provable. That's like that's going to change everything, dude. Me and you have talked NFTs. I've got an NFT project going. I mean, there's nothing to talk about yet, but like I'm in it, bro. I think it's a game-changing tech. I think the world is going to change a lot, and I'm just excited to be living through the change.
I agree. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole. We could go deep in that, but I think that's a good I like the take. We've talked about it. It's good to share a bit on it, and we're aligned on our thoughts on all this. And I think, honestly, I worry a bit. It's kind of a crazy time because social media and what's happening in the NFT world, like I'm a big believer that like 2% or so of all the stuff's going to work, right? And there'll be a couple big winners, right? There will be some NFT platforms, some NFT projects, some NFT creators or works that are just like, it's going to be the creme de la creme. And then a lot of it's just going to be money grabs and kind of, nothing. And it'll be people left holding the bag. So I get a little worried that it's almost done so fast. And so many people are going to try to do things that don't know how to do them correctly and just sort of throw it out there that it could sort of clutter and give people the wrong idea of what NFTs are and why they make sense. So I don't know. I think ultimately after another year or two, things will kind of settle out and there will be some things that are just sort of like similar to sports cards, right? There's like Tops, there's grading companies. There's going to be ones that work. There's going to be ones that people love. People don't like the second tier, third tier stuff, and then the best. And I think that's just going to take a little bit for things to settle in, for people to kind of get comfortable with what they like and what makes sense and why it makes sense. Because it is confusing, like you said. Why not? What's the difference between, let's take CryptoPunks. Like you can go online and like I could use a CryptoPunk for my avatar, right? And like, do I own it? Did I actually buy it? Is it mine? How do you know? Like, how does it work? And these things, I think similar to like verification on Twitter, things, there will be ways to authenticate. And it's kind of a flex, like CryptoPunks. Like, oh, I own a CryptoPunk. Whatever. Like I'm in a fund. So like I have a piece of a lot.
It's like, it is a flex for sure.
It's very, very interesting, but so anyway, okay, we'll cover that now. Tell me a bit about COVID. What positive things have come out of the pandemic for yourself? What, this has been a weird time, scary time, for getting it, your family members, yourself, anyone, that might get it, and what could happen, and a lot of misinformation, a lot of unknown information. But for you, what has been positive, like over this last year and a half, that you think has been actually a benefit for you professionally, personally, with COVID or this pandemic?
I think it forced me to work on myself in a way that I hadn't before. So I would say like my mental health and sort of the way that I operate, coming to understand myself, like that's something that, kind of talking about the first bets, like I was just always busy, so I never had a moment to kind of stop and sit in it and sort of understand what's happening, what's going on. And COVID sort of forced that upon me and everyone else. So I think I've come out the other side with like a lot better understanding of who I am and what makes me tick and what motivates me and what frustrates me, and allows me to just operate in the world in a better way. Um, some of that might be age too, but it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like looking back that I was a bit of a headless chicken, like running around, like just going without sort of considering, like, do I want to go, or what's the effects of going, or like not understanding that, just going. And I've kind of been able to, I think, escape that trap and consider things a little bit more thoroughly from COVID and being inside and having to address like a terrifying and deadly pandemic, that we've all had to deal with. It's like, it's forced me to think and to work on it. So yeah, I would say that's good.
And in terms of organization, I like I love Trello. I wish I need to find the owner. I want to have a beer with them and thank them. That's just like the thing I love the most. It really gives me joy, like how like organizationally that helps me with so many areas of my life. Do you have any hacks or things that are just like you love and you do? And because we talk about this, and it is overwhelming. Streaming, you get kind of like 10, 12 hours, 8 hours, you get off, there's messages, you got to catch up, you do giveaways, whatever. And then there's life, there's emails, there's other opportunities, there's, things that you're passionate about, there's other projects. Like, have you gotten any better systems in place? And this is something we have talked about, organization. And it just kind of one of those things that seems like it's hard to get ahead and organize, because it's always something new. There's always a series going on. There's always a stream. There's always a live event or something you may want to go to. Like, how do you kind of find to get ahead and organized? And have you gotten any new tricks or things you think work for yourself in the last year or so during the pandemic? Maybe you've had a chance to do.
So I have an assistant who is also my mother. My mom is retired, so I employed her sort of as like a retirement job to help me with some of the things that I'm not so good at, like organizing logistics of moving countries. Like she booked the plane tickets and figured out how to get suitcases and transfers from the airport and like all that stuff that is heavy on me. So outsourcing some of the stuff that is difficult so that I don't have to think about it anymore helps keep things organized, because it's just gone from your head. And then the second part, I think, is actually a change in mindset, which is, it used to cause me a lot of stress and anxiety, all of these, all of the things to keep track of, because at a certain point, too much comes in to where you're going to miss stuff. Like, that's a really interesting change, because before I was a streamer, you could respond to everyone that talked to you, every single person. Someone messaged you on Facebook, you would respond to them if you wanted to. At a certain point, it becomes too much to where you can't, like, you have to ignore some people because it becomes too much and you don't have any control over your life. And so that's really nerve-wracking, because you don't want to be rude to those people or like ignore them, but you need to have some semblance of normality. So I just don't let that bother me anymore. Like, I just miss emails sometimes. I miss messages, and like, I'm okay with it, because it is my life, and like some part of my life has to be for me as opposed to for other people. And it's just part of the gig. Like, you can't catch it all. You can't talk to everyone. You can't catch everything. You're going to miss some things. Some people are going to be, feel like you're rude because you didn't respond to their message, but it's just like, you can't do it, man. It's impossible.
Isn't it kind of funny? Like, I don't know about you, but when I started originally kind of in poker and content and just in general, like streaming, or or whatever, if I ever was on, you've been on some shows, some poker shows, you've done obviously thousands and thousands of hours of streaming. You know, like, is it kind of funny now? Cause I doubt you go back and really ever watch your stream or watch a YouTube video you do. And it's like so cool and fun to sort of do content, whatever. And like, just to the point where you just love it, but you're not really like looking. Like, I don't find myself ever go back and like watch a stream, maybe a clip or a moment or something, but like, I don't actually go back or look at, if I'm on a TV poker show, like I don't even watch the show. Like, I've played high stakes cash flow. I've never, like, I won't even go back and watch it.
I haven't seen it, bro. Yeah. Same thing. Monte Carlo, Poker Night America. I haven't seen a hand from the shows. Like, I have no idea what happened.
Which is kind of funny, right? Because like, kind of the goal originally is like, oh, I want to be on TV and like, that's fun. Like, it'll be cool to be on a show. But then once you kind of do it and like, it becomes like, same thing. I don't watch a lot of people who I love their content. I love a lot of streamers, but I'm busy. I don't have time. I'm not watching your stream on a daily basis, or Matt's or Lex or whoever, right? So it's kind of funny though, in a way. Is it kind of weird to think like that? Like, oh, look, Mom, or like, I want to be on TV. I want to be in there. And now it's almost like, it's so just mundane. Like, it's just like regular. You don't think about it. Is that kind of weird to look at yourself now and realize that, or do you just not even think about it?
No, it's bizarre, bro. Because it, like, the transition is so smooth. Like, you think it's going to be a big, like, here's your moment, you're on TV. It's like, no, you just show up and you're just like, oh, it's just poker. And it's, oh, well, that was so normal. Like, it was just, and then being on TV, you think it's going to be like some star moment of like, oh my God, I'm on a TV show. Like, all my friends are going to watch. Like, no, bro. Like, it's not. It's just life. So yeah, I think it's very underwhelming. 18-year-old me would have been incredibly disappointing. But I think the learnings from that is like, it's not about like reaching the end goal, because then you just move it. You move the line. That's actually something I think about in regards to Bill as well, which is like hanging out with really financially successful people, which I've been able to surround myself with a few of them. It's so easy to move the line, move the target as to like what's success, what's good, what isn't good. And then I think I've been able to turn inwards more from having that experience of like, what is it that I want, not what is it the people around me have. And that might actually be more than the people around you have. Like, hey, I'm not shooting high enough. For me, I don't think I want to be Bill Perkins rich, and like, I don't have to feel inadequate to not be Bill Perkins rich. Like, I don't need hundreds of millies. I'm good at like 10, bro. Like 10, cool.
But they say it's never enough. But like, what does that mean? At 10 million, you just like fade away out of content? You do anything differently, or that you're just like happy and like you can live the life you want to live? And like, what changes? You get 10 million cash in the bank. Yeah. What changes for Jaime Staples tomorrow?
I would use my time very differently, I think. Like, I definitely sell some of my time for money right now. Whereas I wouldn't ever do that if you had 10 million, you invest it in the stock market at a very conservative 5% return, $500,000 a year, you pay taxes on it, you have $260,000 a year to spend every year until you die, and you still have 10 million at the end. So that's, you can rent a luxury apartment in any city in the world on $260K. Like what else do you need? What else do you need? You need to buy a Ferrari every year, right? So it's like, to me, I don't think the only difference is like a bigger boat or a private plane. Beyond that point, I don't know what else. I like maybe nice paintings. So I wouldn't stream 6 days a week. That's for sure. I wouldn't be grinding Tuesday sessions. I'd still be playing Sunday because I love poker and I want to win tournaments.
Never miss a Sunday, yeah.
But I wouldn't be playing Tuesday, bro.
It's interesting. It's such an interesting honestly, like, it's so funny because for me personally, I look at, like, I feel like I'm in one of the more unique spots in poker, in history of poker, because like, I'm sort of right in the middle. I got like the Matt Staples, the Landon Tices, and guys that I know, 18, 19, 20-year-old, 21 that I'm friends with, and I see them kind of coming up in their grind. And then I see, the Bill Perkins that are in their early 50s, Helmuth, Esfandiari. Like, so I kind of am like the middle of like the guys that like poker's been around, and then like the up and comers. So I kind of get a little taste of like all of it. And it's interesting because I think a lot of in general in life too, but just like poker speaking, part of it is the grind, right? It really is about like the ride, because like at some point you get comfortable where you're like, all right, I have a house. like I have like my checklist of things that are mandatory in order, and sort of like, because like I remember when I was playing 1-2 at like Casino Windsor, now Caesars Windsor, and like it was just like, you know, I didn't know if I was going to play poker for a living. Like I didn't know what was going on. It was like I got you know, a couple grand. I'm in there playing 1-2 with $200. You know, I'm at home for summer in college. Like I got no clue. Am I going to be mowing lawns like for during the summers, or like I never had a job. I just like tried poker and it like worked, and I kind of made it happen. But like that's part of the fun, is like when you're traveling the world and you got like, you don't know, like you could go bust, you could not you know, that's all part. Like at a certain point, you know, I miss like I can't, there's not been a time where I just go into a poker game or casino for fun. Like not saying that like I couldn't, but like again, I have a child. I stream, I do this, I that, I play in a high, you know, a PLO game that's like real and whatever. And it's like at some point that's just like going there, and like that session that matters. Like if I win or lose 500, like is like a big deal to what's happening. I got my little sheet, my Excel, and I'm keeping track every session. I mean, that's part of the most fun, right? And then at some point, like you said, like, then you start streaming, or you put your head down, and there's times where you're at a 15 out of 100 enjoyment or grinding. And it's sort of like you're saying about time. So it's just an interesting, the journey. I just like want to tell people in poker in general, like enjoy that, right? Enjoy that part where you're like really getting to grind and hustle and putting those 36-hour, 20-hour sessions, and you know, your every card turn matters, or river. You know, it's just different stages. But I don't know. It's a long-winded way of saying I think part of the battle and part of the fun is that grind. And I don't think really the number is exactly the answer, whether it's 1 million, 10 million, 20 million, 100 million. You know, the point is the time, right? And I think that's, again, Bill, shout out to him, that Die with Zero, sort of being able to take your time. I think Steve Jobs, right? He was one, he made some really powerful statements about life and what's worth. And like, you know, you don't know if you could get this, something could happen tomorrow. You get sick, you could, who knows? You want to make sure you are enjoying and taking time for things that really matter along the way, because like at some point it won't matter. Like, hopefully the money, and it just doesn't. So it's like, you got to have a balance. At the same time, that formula is tricky. Because like in your mind,
it should be gradual though. That's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
Like first 2 years on Twitch, I mean, nightmares fuel. Like just like it just, bro, it was just like I would wake up a minute before my alarm and I would jump out of bed. That's how wired I was, of like, I need to stream, because it was like an opportunity to like make something of my life, you know? And I knew it. I was like, this is my chance to do what I want to do, right? But it's like the amount of work, I didn't have any time for myself. I did 0 things for myself for 2 years. Like I didn't watch any shows I liked. I didn't like read up, like I didn't make any friends, nothing, dude. It was all in service of like acquiring the financial freedom to get the life that I wanted to have, right? All of it. And now it's like I'm at a point 10 years into my poker career, 6 years into streaming, where I'm like, I need to transition a little bit away from everything in pursuit of like a financial and broadly success stream into like, I need to do some things for myself, for like me, not in service of anyone else or like how people think about me, but like what I want to do with my own time in my life. And that it needs to be gradual. So that's what I'm saying with money, dude. If I hit that 10 million number, and I'm not saying it's 10 million, but if it is, then I would do a lot of things for myself, almost everything for myself. And then I'd work on meaningful things for other people that I was passionate about. You know, I wouldn't do anything in pursuit of the dollars, which is a factor in like, I think 99% of people's lives. Cause I mean, it's a big deal. Money's important.
It's I don't know. I have so many thoughts on this. Like it kind of comes down to FOMO as well, too. Like at some point with in general, whether it's FOMO, you're missing out on other events or people, things that are going on, or FOMO from your stream. Like Matt was talking about this, that he feels for the first time, like kind of more comfortable now. Like if he takes a month off or a few weeks or something, like he can come back and he'll still have his audience, or, you know, he has one. Whereas that grind of like building it, right? Getting to the point where you get that stability. How do you feel on that? Like, do you feel, you know, say you want to go to WSOP for 2 months or go take a vacation for a month? Do you ever worry about that? And if so, like now, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like you could take a month or two and come back and it would be okay? Or does that give you a bit of anxiety? Like, oh, like is my stream going to suffer so much when my numbers are much lower if I were to come back? Or do you not think like that anymore?
It's about half as much as it used to be. In the beginning, it was terrifying. And like, I step away for 3 days and I'd feel awful by the third day. I'm just like, oh my God, you know? But now it's kind of half as much. I don't worry so much about the audience because they've been there for 7 years and they come back. And like, I've had the experience of coming back with a smaller viewership and then being able to build it up again over 3 weeks of working hard. And then it's big again. And it's like, okay, so people are here for it kind of no matter what. I do worry about like my other responsibilities in regards to my partnerships, sponsorships, things like that. I still feel pressure in that regard, in that I want to put my best foot forward for any company I'm working alongside or working with. So it's like, I feel pressure there where it's like, I want to do the best for Party Poker as much as I can, you know? And I don't ever want to give off the impression that I'm like, you know, mailing it in or sort of resting. I always want to do the best for them. So I always feel that pressure. I know you do as well. It's just like natural with being a sponsored player. But the audience I'm cool with. I think they've shown up time and again, and they support me whether I take some time off or not.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think that, yeah, I think you and I are both, no one's going to ever accuse us of resting on our laurels or just sort of like, whatever, you know, like we generally, and I mean, for sure, you know, you put the time and do the effort, and there's really only one period of time, I think, in the last 5 years where I feel like I actually, I don't want to say a vacation, but like I just kind of like was off a bit of like the grid. And that, you know, that was like in the last couple months, part of that being situationally, you know, where I am and not being able to stream. But it's, you know, it is. Same with you. I don't feel like I've never been told, hey, you got to stream like this many hours or this many days, just because like it's never been an issue. Like it doesn't even like, that's not how I think. Like it's almost like, you know, more about like family, friends, balance. Like I want to make sure, okay, I'm balanced, because maybe I'm too one way. But I think that's like the key word in life is balance. And it's so easy to get kind of lopsided on whatever that is. And have a routine and schedule is really important. What's your typical routine right now with COVID and just in general? Let's just take the next few weeks. Do you have a set streaming schedule at the moment, or not in the current state of things?
Well, I'm not really like obsessive about a daily schedule or anything. I used to try that and it never worked because it would just rotate all the time. So I have like a bunch of things I'm enjoying doing, getting outside and exercising as much as I can. Really enjoying that. You can probably see I'm in Canada, but I'm like very tan. It looks like it's like mid-August. Like, no, I've just been walking all over the place. So that I'm enjoying. I'm reading a lot of books. I'm really into reading right now and just loving it. Play a little bit of video games, some Valorant, play with Matt. Jeff, I think you should try Valorant, dude. It would be fun. I would love to play a game of Valorant with you. And then, of course,
how to play it. It sounds fun, but I've heard that
it's
a
a
lot.
first-person shooter. It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Spend time with Rebecca, of course. You know, we chat, hang out, talk, whatever, and study poker, do some business stuff, and stream and sleep. That's my whole life. That's what I do at the moment. That's pretty much it until the pandemic's over.
And what about studying and Raise Your Edge? And obviously we're both affiliated with that. We use them, Ben CB, respect. What has been some realizations and how have you kind of, obviously you've studied throughout your career and done stuff. What has been your current thing? What do you think works and what do you think doesn't work? So I get this question a lot. People have a little bit of a hard time, you know, to sit down and just plow through a course, you know, like fully, you know, whether it's like going through sections or, you know, ranges. What is something you like to do when you're studying, or what do you find to be an effective tool in getting better in your poker game?
I'm really diverse with it. So sometimes I'll do solver work where you basically ask a machine a question, given a set of variables, and you get an answer, right? And I think that's really hardcore, like in-depth, heavy thinking stuff. Sometimes I'll watch a video. Sometimes I'll use a range viewer, like with Raise Your Edge and Paired, and I'll go through sort of like pre-flop ranges and 3-bet ranges. And sometimes I'll talk with friends. Sometimes I'll watch my own stream and sort of pick out where I think I'm making mistakes. I mean, there's so many different sources and ways to learn, and I think they're all pretty valid. There's only one perspective that I really have a problem with, which is that, whoa, bro,
woo,
what's going on in your chat, man?
I just saw a little hundo pack there from Green Eyed Asian Matt Seidman. Holy, 100 pack coming in the pod, man. That'll break. We got to do a pause for 100 pack right there, man. Wow, that's a legend right there, man. Holy 100 ball. Wow. Thank you, man. Thank you from from me, from Jamie, from everyone, dude. I think pretty much everyone in here, we got about 100 on at the moment that are live on this stream on Twitch. So everyone just kind of picked up. If you didn't get a gifted sub, you're running bad. Because I mean, literally everyone on here
how did that happen, bro? We've got like 110. Like how do you miss a sub? You're running bad.
That's the legend right there. It's like a 10-year, one of my very, very close friends. Great poker player. Actually, would be a fascinating podcast guest, although he's not a poker guy, but it would just be too entertaining. So there he is. He's in the chat. He's got it all. He's got moderator a year. He's got all the badges. He's doing it. He's gifted the record on the stream. So thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Jamie, but 100 pack, you got to pause.
I mean, bro, yeah, 100 pack. That's a moment in time. I mean, those are rare. Wow. Those are rare ones. I was just saying, like, there's been some controversy recently from a few strategy creators, crap talking other strategy creators, and basically saying your stuff sucks, other stuff is better, whatever. Like, I just roll my eyes at these, geniuses that are acting like idiots. Because it's like, there's so many varying ways of learning that are effective for different people. And if you're unable to figure that out, you've got some learning to do yourself, right? Some people are going to be really oriented to a mathematical GTO based sort of learning system and then figuring it out from there, or just trying to play GTO because your brain is regimented like that, I guess. And then some people are really much more free flowing and creative, and they want perspectives and they want the ability to arrive to an answer without being told what the answer is. And both are really valid. And the good teachers out there understand that, and they can appreciate that and respect that. And the bad teachers out there, I don't know, just like have such a narrow perspective on life. So we've seen that. And like, I respect Raise Your Edge and Ben so much for the way that they do coaching and sort of the openness in which they approach poker. And I think their results and their students' results speak for themselves. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Ben and what he does.
And what do you believe in streamers are the most, I guess, attractive or just speak in general. Like if you're watching a stream, not speak. I'll ask it a different way. What do you believe in? I think it's better this way actually, because it's sort of like a indirect way of saying what do you think your skill sets are, your best attributes of streaming? Let's just do it that way instead of cutting to the BS. And what do you look for in other streamers and stuff? What do you do well? What is something that people are going to watch your stream and do you think that you have it's kind of a weird one because I know you're a very humble guy, but what do you think is like your superpowers in streaming and with Twitch and poker and Twitch?
I think I'm good at poker, but I think there's a lot of good poker players as well. But I think I have a good way of explaining thought process and thinking. And when I'm playing hands, I'm talking through why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about, which is not necessarily true of a lot of the biggest poker streamers. Like, I always think about poker streams that way in my head, but then when I watch like Lex or Spraggy or Tonka, they don't often actually explain what's going on in a hand. And that's not a bad thing. It's just different from how I do it. So I think that's something that stands out for me, is that people get a little bit insight into the thought process going through hands, which is nice. And then I think like we're all just individuals, So like I'm a different guy than Lex and Tonka and Spraggy and Matt and you, and like we're all just people, and people are interesting. So some people vibe with what I got going on and they like art, and then some people rage tilt because I've got a scrunchie in my hair and then they go watch Tonka. And it's like both are okay, bro. I mean, you can live your life, choose your own adventure.
I love that. I completely agree. Yeah, I think that there are so many options. That's why it is nice, because you just you get to choose. And there's so many different coaches. I will say to your point about some of these high level poker players that are kind of ridiculing or deconstructing others' work. It's kind of fascinating, right? And it's kind of like you see one guy like, is this way a little better or not? And you guys, some of the biggest winners and crushers in the game. And now there is like 5 or 6, I'd say, coaching products, right? There's we can name them off. Obviously, we're Team Raise Your Edge. Of course. And we love, Ben CB, and he's putting a lot of work and time with us and has a great product. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see guys that are at that level sort of nitpicking on others, like, oh no, it's like, 7/8 suited should be this instead of that, or like an inch or a little difference and stuff. But I think part of it is the polarizing strategy, right? Like, it's just good content. It actually helps everyone. And like they're like giving, brings attention to each, right? Maybe some people try multiple coaching things anyway. So whatever. Shout out to Ben CB, Raise Your Edge, all the boys over there.
Shout out to the good guys, dude. But I don't have any respect for that kind of marketing though. I don't. It's like there's ways that you can get attention from being an asshole. It's the easiest form of attention to get. Easiest, dude. Like, it's easy to get eyeballs because negativity just breeds people jumping on it, So like, if your interactions in the world are tearing other people down to big yourself up, it's just like soulless, dude. It takes no courage. It takes no effort. It's not interesting. It's like you're contributing to the world a negative perspective on someone else. You're tearing down the world to big yourself up. There's nothing admirable or interesting about it to me. It's just like the oldest, most played out trope, and idiots fall for it and love it. But it's just like, it's bullshit, bro. It sucks.
Right.
I hate people like that. They're the worst.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's sort of 101 textbook, and I think the lowest hanging fruit, and just kind of not it's sort of, it's whatever. It's a little bit bush league. All right, tell me, what is your most exciting moment on stream? You've had some big scores, you've had some big runs. What is your favorite memory of actually streaming? A particular stream, a particular hand, straight flush, royal flush, crazy. It could be a score. What is your most memorable streaming moment?
Well, the weight loss bet weigh-in was on the stream, so that's got to be the most famous moment, I'd say. I think a second one that stands out for sure is just in the fall. I had like 15,000 viewers, something like that, 15 or 14,000 viewers, as I was down to 19 in the 5K millions online. It was 900,000 for the win. I mean, a lot of people there, bro, and it was hype. I mean, it was a career-defining opportunity. I felt a little bit short, unfortunately, for 35K. It's still a little bit painful, but that was a moment, like that was a real opportunity. Last one, I'd say the day I signed my first sponsorship. So a lot of people at the time were watching my stream from within the company. I was like the first Twitch signing. Or I guess the second Twitch signing after Jason Summerall. But anyways, and I won the big 109 on that day, which was like the biggest tournaments on the schedule. So I won the biggest tournament on the schedule for like 20K, and the stream was just going bananas on the day of my signing. So like all of my bosses and like everyone was there, and it was just like one of the hypest moments.
Wow. That's pretty special. And
yeah,
that's crazy to put in perspective. What year was that? 15, 16?
That would have been 15, dude.
So 2015,
April 15.
Tax day in the US. Wow. Big, right around Black Friday, the 4-year anniversary as well. Yeah. That's a lot going on. That's a lot of over what, wow. And let me just, that puts things in perspective to where the state of poker was then. If that's the biggest, a 109 and that was the biggest, because now there's 215s, 500, 1Ks, 2Ks, 5K, 10Ks, like every day almost, like it seems. So, I mean, this was,
yeah, man. People forget what poker was like 5 years ago. It was way different, bro. Literally the biggest tournament on the schedule on all of the sites was the big 109, 20K guaranteed. There was an afternoon 162 on Stars, and it was smaller because it didn't have enough players to reach the 109, right? And there was no bounties. There was no bounty hunters. Like, the world was different. On a Sunday, let's talk Sunday schedule. This will blow your mind if you're a new poker player, right? The biggest tournament on the Sunday was the 215 Sunday Million. There was a $530 Sunday 500. There's the 215 warm-up, 215 mulligan, and that was the Sunday schedule. Everything else was 109 and under. There was no 1Ks on Sunday, no 2Ks, no 5Ks, no 10Ks, no 25Ks, nothing. And that was true of all the sites. I think Party Poker had like a 5K like 6 years ago. They took it away, and then 500 was the biggest buy-in, and that was considered the high roller. Now it's like, bro, guys are in for 100K on Sunday. Like, easy pog. They snap it in. The game has changed completely online. It's crazy.
It really, man, perspective's everything. And that's crazy. Cause like, I guess, yeah, I'm thinking back to 2000 pre-Black Friday, and even then there weren't like high rollers. You know, it wasn't like 2Ks and 5Ks online then. But yeah, exactly. The Sunday Million and some 500s, and you know that was a huge buy-in. So
the best tournament players in the world were firing the same schedule as the mid-stakes grinders. They're in the big 55, they're in the big 109, they're in the milli, they're in the 500 and the warm-up.
Like, yeah, the exactly. Wow, it really is crazy. I mean, poker's in a pretty special place. I think it is. Like, I think that's you know, crypto a little bit helps, right? People are pumped up a bit and sort of ridden the wave. Obviously, BTC a little setback at the moment, and sort of markets sort of you know, correcting and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Like we are in a really good spot. What do your parents think? What do Mama, Papa Staples? We've talked about this with Matt a bit, but how proud must they be to see you guys, you know, dive in and be sponsored by major brands, traveling the world, making 6-figure bets? Like how does Team Staples feel over there at home?
I think they're happy, dude. I mean, they were nervous like 7 years ago of like, what are you doing exactly? But I think, like you said, when there was like sort of more mainstream recognition, they're like, oh, okay, this is a legit thing. Like he's actually doing something good here. And then, you know, over time, they've come to watch the stream, understand it a little bit more. And now they're, you know, the supporting parents, like you would be for, you know, anyone playing a sport or something like that. You know, they'll watch our games and root for our success and be happy for us. And I think in general, just want us to be happy and healthy and successful. So yeah, they're supportive all the way.
And you mentioned it was one of the best moments getting signed, and then obviously having that score on that day. How do you deal with the highs and lows? You know, mentality. Raise your edge again. Give him a shout out. They got the course, Coach Bauman. I've actually worked with him direct. Really like him. They got some cool stuff. Elliot Rowe does content. He's been on here. I know you know Elliot, and it's very important. I mean, poker is like athletics. You know, and Olympians they're known to have depression. Very common. Like the highs are so high to win a medal or compete at the highest level, and then not. You know, poker's similar, right? You get that 15,000 viewer, you hit these massive marks, but then some days you know that you're not. You know, the show is capped. You're at $100 buy-in max. You're down to one screen. It's a $55, and you know there's other stuff going on. How do you sort of deal with that high and low, and how do you sort of manage your expectations on a given day? Because it is true, like the WPT is coming up. There's a big opportunity, right? 3,200 buy-in. You realize if you go to that final 20, you could be the guy. You could set a personal record. You could hit a Twitch record. But on a given day, you can't have that. So how do you get fired up? How do you give your best and deal with things aren't going well? Give me some tricks to that, because that's a huge part of poker.
Change your goals, man. I think that's it. It's like, I think when most people start in poker, they want to escape their situation. They want to make something of themselves. They want to make some money that they can't make, you know, working a dead-end job. So that's all really exciting and exhilarating. But then, you know, when the bankroll hits 150K, 200K, let's say, it's like, okay, you might win 5K today. It's not going to change anything about your life. Zero. It's not exciting anymore to win that 5K. It's not painful to lose 2K. So it has to be for a different reason. And I think that's a transition that most people go through. So for me, I want to have success in my career. I want to win tournaments. I want to have exciting moments. I want to be a good ambassador and share the game of poker in a healthy and safe way, and show the great parts of the game, because there's a lot of people that show the not awesome parts of the game. So like that all drives me forward. And it's just not about the dollars and cents anymore on like a small day, right? It's about, can I get a victory? Can I have a good stream? Can I introduce 10 people to the game of poker and give them sort of a positive outlook about what it is we do? Like that is motivating, not a little bit more money.
Absolutely. How do you manage to, I guess, what's the word? How do you put a caveat in? How do you kind of protect against the gaming aspect? Now there's like 18 plus, you know, beware, Gamblers Anonymous. So it's like, you are promoting a game. We're promoting a game that there is financial risk. You know, you're not playing checkers. You're not playing chess. You're not playing a game that has zero consequence. Most of the time, of course, there's play money. There's free rolls. There is, you know, people want to be responsible. You can play 1 cent, 2 cent. You can always set bankroll. Not everyone has that discipline. How do you sort of protect against that, and just also maybe make a disclaimer? What's your way of telling people, hey, look, I play for a living. There is financial risk. You know, it's a great game. there's a lot of benefits to life you can apply to real life with poker, but how do you sort of be careful not to put someone down, to quit their job and become a professional poker player without taking the right precautions, and also it's a different time, right? We talked about $100 is the biggest tournament online then. 2004 was a period in poker, 2010, 2015, 2020. There's different times, different abilities, different entry points, different risks. What do you say to people that are starting poker right now, and how do you kind of help them to not maybe get over their head?
Yeah, so I think it's a really thin line in a lot of areas, right? Because you're speaking to different people that have different circumstances and situations and mindsets, and you have to come up with broad, overarching advice. So I think being really responsible in the way that you talk about poker, and sometimes a little bit boring and drab in the way you talk about poker, but in effect to ensure that you don't cause harm to people, right? So when people ask questions like, bro, I'm thinking, I might just take a punt on this 250 and like I'm tilted. I think I'm just going to punt off my bankroll. Like the funny thing to do as a streamer is be like, bro, best of luck with your punt, like ship it. But the responsible thing to do as a poker ambassador is to sort of warn against some of the pitfalls and some of the difficulties that people have in the game. So I try and take the responsible side of things quite often, and just highlight some of the negative things that can happen and some of the things you want to look out for, like only playing poker with money that you can afford to lose, addressing the reality that just because I'm a poker pro doesn't mean you can be too. And I put a lot of work in to get good enough to make, decent money, but it's likely you're not going to be able to do that. Like just being honest and frank and forthcoming about that, and not being deceiving that this is easy and anyone can do it. And if you're smart enough, you've got it, but also being true and genuine and authentic. So it's a really difficult line, I think, wearing those two hats of Jamie the player and then Jamie the poker ambassador. It's like, it's a tough thing. I don't know. It's close in a lot of spots.
For sure. Yeah, I like that. I think that's kind of struggle with and try to keep an eye on and make sure, always aware of, and let people, you don't want to sell a dream. You don't want to sell something and put people in a bad spot. You want to be honest, let them know, and also try to give them good advice along the way, and make sure they're not just putting all their eggs in one basket.
Tell me a bit about, Jeff, I want to ask you if you get this sometimes, right? Because sometimes I feel like a little bit hypocritical, and I try not to be. So a common one will be, hey man, I think I want to quit my job and pursue poker full time. And like, we both know that this is 98% unsuccessful as a pursuit when people do that, right? Like they probably don't have a plan. They don't have a conception of like what really it takes and what it's going to be like. But also, if I'm that guy, I'm definitely quitting my job, and I definitely wouldn't be here if I hadn't quit my job and did exactly what he's about to do. Even though he's most likely going to fail, I really struggle to tell him not to, because I don't think I would do the same thing. And I think that's bad advice. I think you got to shoot your shot. I think you just got to land on your feet when you fail. So like, how do you deal with that, Jeff? I want to know your answer, because it's
a great question. Honestly, there's no way of like doing this without sounding a little bit not humble, because like I think that it takes a very special person and personality, but also I think the more, like I say that in a way more with the caveat of the right time. I'm 34 years old. I have a 2-year-old son. I'm married. I have a lot of responsibilities. I would not recommend that to someone who is in my situation, to start from scratch and like go on a Twitch ride or go to your local casino and try to beat 1-2. I started when I was 15, 16, playing a bit online, playing 25 cent 50. I got not a care in the world, no financial responsibility. I was playing soccer at a high competitive level, couldn't really even have a job. So like I was not in a spot where it's like, oh, like it's either play poker or, work at the local Dairy Queen. Like it was just like, I'm playing soccer. Poker's great for me because I can play a little bit, hop online. Now I played a lot. Like I was playing all night and not being fully responsible. And I was like, hopping in bed at 4:44 and my dad's alarm would go off and I would deal out of a hand, just slide into bed. And then, I wasn't being fully, like in that sense, responsible. The point is, it's very different. What would I tell a 16 or 17-year-old that's like, that has the right sort of skill set attributes to possibly work? It's different than someone I would tell that's 25, 35, 45 on what they would do and how they would do it. And also it's so different because I don't even know. Like I'm not qualified to tell you how to come into the 25 cent, 50 cent
bro.
level right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
And
I don't
it's
know.
also just like, it feels so silly sometimes when like people are asking me questions and I'm like, man, I don't have life figured out. Like, why are you asking me? Like, I don't know. It's so weird when I see streamers and they're a similar age to us, 25, 26, and they're giving like basically like life financial advice on how to manage a bankroll. I'm just like, bro, like, how are you going to this guy about like how to manage your money? Like, he doesn't know either. Like, we don't have the answers. Like, this worked out for us, and here's what usually happens. But like, I hate the feeling of having to come across it as the authority in those situations when it's like, bro, I'm trying to figure this all out too. Like, this is just life, you know?
The biggest thing though, again, it's like personality. It doesn't like, I play video games, board games, like all the time. I love games. I was out selling door-to-door pictures to buy my walkie-talkies. I was selling Bubblicious out of my cubby in second grade. Like, I would go, it's crazy because Josh Luber, the co-founder of StockX, he did the exact same thing. He talked to me, I almost jumped out of my chair on the podcast. He's like, I used to sell Bubblicious, the same gum, the same thing. It was $5 a pack. I would sell $1 a pack. It was 5 packs, and it was $4 or a quarter a piece, and it was 5 pieces in a pack. So I was making $1 to, even if I stretched it out like a piece, it was, going a long way. But that was just who I was. Like, I was an entrepreneur at heart. Like, I love money. I love people. I love, the whole hustle of it all. That's who I am. So like, poker is a great fit. And then, affiliate programs from in college and, all that was just like part of my DNA. So like, for me, it's a natural fit. Now, someone who's kind of lazy or just, whatever, right? Like, again, like you said, 2%, I don't know the right percent, but same thing with Twitch. I'm sure you've had this. You probably had friends or other poker professionals that will reach out and they'll be like, hey, I want to stream. And they'll like, give me your playbook. Or I'm like, sure, here it is. Here's all the equipment. This is what you need for a laptop, a travel set. This is a live set. This is for a podcast. Guess what? Maybe 3 or 4 of them have done 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 streams, but like, guys, they think they want to do it, or girls, but they don't really want to do it because like, it's such a grind. Like, you really got to commit. Like, it's a thing. It's not once in a while. Now, listen, there's guys like Bill Perkins, Daniel Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth that have a Twitch that can go on and get massive viewers and have like a thing, and they don't really care. And it's just like an extra thing. But if you want to do it for a living and you want to be consistent and go for it, you gotta really want it. And it's just not for everybody. It's just not. It's just not. It's not even like. So I don't know. I'm sure you had that, right? You've probably given some people.
Oh yeah. Like 20, 25 people. Like, hey, what do I need? What do I need to do? I think I want to be a streamer, and it's like, you probably don't. I think one of the guys that really stands out, Ape Styles, is one of those guys. When he comes into the game, I'm thinking the same thing with Ape Styles. I'm like, this guy has won millions of dollars playing poker. He doesn't need the money, and he is an amazing player. Like, there's no chance Ape Styles is going to be grinding Twitch in 3 months. I was wrong, dude. I mean, Ape Styles he's doing it. I really respect like his motivation and his like internal motivation. None of it is financial, clearly, because it's just like, he doesn't need it. He's done very well. He's playing 25Ks on GG and like winning millions of dollars. It's like, the guy's very successful, but he is streaming nonetheless, which is so cool, dude. It's dope.
But like, also his personality, I think, is set for it, and his skill set and his multitasking and tables, plus he like package in some of the coaching stuff he does.
Yeah,
or
he's got some financial upside
it
stuff.
Makes sense. It makes sense. But yeah, to your point, you would think maybe he comes on and streams a Sunday once in a while, or like just flicks it in. But yeah, he's been consistent and really getting it. But again, it is kind of fun. It's sort of addicting. If you love it, it's easy in terms of like your setup and what you do. Like, why not? Because it's kind of like the same thing. That Sprite commercial, I always stands out to me like this. I think I've mentioned this to you before. It's like the guy like looks under the cat, or no, they're playing a video game, and like this little character's like, some guy's celebrating, they win versus a friend. He's like, what'd you win? Like, what'd you win? Like, you playing a video game. And then he twists under the cap, and it's like, free, whatever, some prize. And it's like, you can win something. Same on Twitch. Like, if you're playing poker and you have that extra chance, like, why not? Same now, like with video games, you can actually stream video games. People are getting scholarships. There's esports, and it's like you're building something, a brand, a process. Like it's like a it's a free roll, right? Like to build and do something along the way. Now, of course, you're going to give up a little bit of ability, a little bit of focus to your tables, but net, if you're like, I want to play poker online the next 2 to 3 years, probably a good idea to have assuming your personality's fit for it and you like it, it probably makes sense to build a channel and have that option. Maybe you do it, maybe you try it, maybe you don't. I look at like Chance Corneth, same thing. He asked for the blueprint. He streams some. He has a kid now. He's busy. He's a great poker player, plays live, this and that. He's not a grinder, but like he has the capability to go on and do a stream, promote his coaching. And, he's an example of someone that like did it, went through it, understands it, has the capability and kind of comes in and out as he wishes, which I think is cool too. And I think that's something to people, if you're wondering, oh, I don't have the right equipment, I don't know, like, is it going to work? Because listen, it happens. Doesn't matter if you're a well-known player or not, or middle of the road or brand new, it's going to take time to get used to it. You're going to change your graphics, change your camera, change your background, change your graphics, change your commands, change your animations. Like there's a process and it's not going to be great right away. If you don't try it though, like, because it's an uphill battle. It's intimidating to think, oh, I'm going to start and I got 3 people watching me and I got to put out my first tweet and hope like some people show up and hotkey and you're on the wrong scene or you forget to close your stream. And, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen.
You know what I think, Jeff? I want to pay you a compliment here because I think people need to have a Jeff Gross and Flow Show mentality when you start a stream. Like you said, it is intimidating. And then also if you're already like a decent poker player, it's like you're putting yourself out there in a way to get ridiculed almost, right? Like for a long time, there was a lack of respect in regards to being a streamer. It was just like, oh, you're basically a clown for people, like you make money from streaming and like, you're not a real poker player, right? So you have to go out there as a mid-stakes player and you have to just like put all that behind you and sort of be brave in the face of that negativity and pessimism. And you can't be ironic about it either. And I talk about Matt when we talk about you. We talk about this all the time. Jeff, I don't know if you've ever done anything ironically in your life. Everything you do it to the fullest. And I have so much respect for it, man. You could be tying your shoe and you're going to be the best shoe tire you're going to try your absolute best no matter what. And that's a mentality you need to have in life in general, but also with streaming. You got to go out there and just like screw everyone else. I'm going to do my absolute best trying to do this and take that mentality. I think it'll win. You got to have the Flow Show mentality.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a very, very, a very strong comment. I appreciate that. I will say that my grind has been so different, I think, than most. And like, I don't really know if there's any, USA, that have been doing it as long. I mean, Jason Somerville, right? But in terms of USA streaming and having to travel, I can just tell you, like, Jason, I respect him so much with the one table and how he did it because it's so fucking gangster. Like, it's just so different than like pretty much everyone who does it, and it works so well. But also, like, he would just do seasons, right? Which is pretty cool too. He would like say, I'm going to wherever, and like I'm gonna fire hard. Like, that is so smart in my opinion, because like one of the big struggles I've had is that on the road stuff, like 2 weeks here, 1 week here, going here, don't know, like you said, you had a problem in Bucharest, or I think I pronounced it wrong, but different. Like I was in New Zealand and I was going on a trip with my wife. I was like, all right, we're gonna mix it up and do some cool stuff. I'll stream some. There's no internet. Like the internet in the hotels would say it's 5 up and down, but it was like 0.1. It was so crazy to set up, like take a half a day or a whole day and try to figure it out and like not be able to stream and make plans. And, it's so intense, that journey and process of like so much tilt. Like if you could like half the time in 2015 or 16 to like 17, 18 was like really upsetting moments for me. Like being in Brazil and like just couldn't stream, or I was on like super terrible quality, right? Like the stream would be like, could barely hear me or in and out, or you don't know, right? How hard is it to stream when you don't know if like it's even working? You got a 5-minute delay, it's cutting in and out. Like it's not right? You're not at your optimal level.
I don't do that, man. I don't do that. Like I have had good enough internet in every spot I've gone to. I've never gone with the hotel Wi-Fi or like the hotel internet, because like I wouldn't stream. I just couldn't do it, Like the biggest technical hurdles I've had was IRL streaming, where you're on a data network from your phone, like out in the wild, and that would cut out sometimes. But like in general, I can't put up with that, dude. Like I think the days of mobile setups are gone for me. I have the home base with the great setup, and maybe I'll go a spot for 2 months and take a small setup, but like that's about it,
That's how I feel though, in some ways too, about planning, organization, understanding too, because like for example, I have a nice setup in terms like I got a background. This is a good place to do a podcast. I got a good mic. I got it. I feel comfortable. I like it. Whereas like, okay, maybe I'll jam podcasts more for the next, while I'm here. And then when I'm on the road, I'll do this or that. Right. Cause it's not, I don't like doing a podcast on the road from a janky internet with a bad background, not the right mic and bad lighting. It's like, there's not the why. Like, why not just do it right when you can in the spot? So I think with like adequate planning and understanding, you kind of learn what works and doesn't. And like I say, we're in the matrix, obviously. Like, we're constantly improving, optimizing, and getting things right. And I think that's something that you and I have a lot of experience in. We've definitely been through the trenches. We've seen what works. We see what we like, what we don't like. And that's why when we do our next stream house or whatever, we're going to blow the roof off. We're going to have the bells and whistles. We're going to have everything, high and tight, and we're going to be ready to rock. So I expect us to do something big in the future again, whether it's a boat, a plane, stream something, a bus. Like I know there's some talks about bus or this or that. Like what about you? What's your dream project? Like, I put it out there, and if you can or not share, what would be something you would like to do that hasn't been done, or do you not even want to share it because you're worried it might get yanked?
No, I mean, I've kind of had that experience before. I came up with a stream bus. Remember, I told you that. I think it was in Barcelona. I pitched it to Stars, and then the Moneymaker tour happens, and that was it. And then, so I was like, oh, okay. So I think the Poker Player live tour, I take credit for that idea. I mean, of course, Poker Stars developed it to be a big thing with the Moneymaker tour. Like, they did great work. It doesn't take a genius to come up with that idea. But in general, I think that had a lot of promise and still does have a lot of promise. I would love to do a stream bus. The thing is, like, how does internet work with the stream bus? I don't know. There's a lot of logistics.
We're 2021, man. It's NFT time. Like, you don't think there could be a bus with internet? John Madden was doing it. He was rocking the tour bus and probably could, do his rate, whatever from there. Like, there's got to be a way. I mean, I don't know. There's ways, like a motorhome or something. Like, I'm sure there's stuff, but we haven't seen. I think we're still on the early stages of the creativity that can happen, and you see some cool stuff going on. So I'm sure we'll figure it out and have some nice collaborations.
Stream cabin, bro. I think we should do a stream cabin because, bro, think about like a nice lake in the background, some mountains in the woods. You get a 5 or 6 pack of poker players, and you're just posted up, studying hands, streaming. You're in the wilderness. I mean, that's a moment. I think we haven't done a stream cabin. We've done the stream boat twice. We've done the stream house, stream bus to be determined. I mean, I'm engaged. You're married. It might be a bit of a tough thing to bring along significant others. Stream cabin could work though, dude. I'm in for stream cabin.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, that would be cool. Like, my only thing is, again, just life, logistics, different things. I might have to get like a second cabin. Bring the fam and a nanny and be posted up because it's too intense. But like, for sure. I also, Jamie, I do have to give you, I got to give you a big compliment. You really are like a brother. You're one of my, I guess, closest friends in poker, but also a very, very close friend. I don't even want to say like limit to poker. We talk a lot. You've been in my, I guess, Twitch and content journey. You basically the one who told me I got to get on YouTube. You just like an innovator. I think you always are ahead of the curve. Like, you have ideas. You're very, very creative. You are a go-getter. And, I think that, I think again, in terms of poker and content, you are sort of the, one of those guys that, like, when people look back at this, like, say a decade of Twitch poker, I guess like from 50, like, you basically cemented yourself as, one of the heroes, one of the guys that's just put it on the line, always outward focused, always, looking to help others and do stuff. So I think that, again, I have to give you big compliment, big thank you, because you always are sharing too. It's such a competitive landscape, Twitch in particular, with viewership and King of the Mountain, but you really, you go out of your way and you do share. And I think you generally want the best for everyone. So it's nice. It's great that we've been, went from Stars to here, aligned on projects and done a lot of stuff together. I hope we get to do a lot more because it's been fun and definitely someone that I trust 100% and, really bromance moment. But yeah, man, I got a lot of love for you and really you want to say thank you for all the stuff we've been able to do so far. It's been fun. So
cheers, man. It has been good. It's like, it's nice to collaborate with you on stuff. And I've gotten likewise, a lot of value out of a relationship from just like our collaborating and working together on stuff, leaving the personal aspect aside of it. And you're right, though. It's like, when I think about collaboration, I think it's definitely cost me money for sure. It's cost me time for sure. And it hasn't been a plus EV decision in terms of dollars and cents, but I can't help myself. It's just like, I want Twitch and poker to grow. You know, it's like there's been a lot of relationships that are one-sided, and it's like take, and you don't get anything. Ours is not like that, and there's been some great relationships as well. And it's just like, at the end of the day, you want poker to thrive and succeed, and it's like, you take the worst of it sometimes. That's okay, you know. Just like grow the game and be good in the world.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I also, though, do believe very strongly, one of my favorite sayings or sort of things that I think are true, sort of like karma is like very cliche, like GOAT. People like to toss that term, karma, GOAT, these type of big, powerful words that are kind of overused and thrown around. But in terms of like a saying or a way of thinking, I really believe the wheel is round. You know, I don't know if you've heard that or no. Have you heard that?
No.
I mean, it means what goes around comes around, and basically, like, no kind of good deed or good gesture, I think, goes unnoticed. And same thing when someone does something nasty or sort of like does something that's not right, it comes around, right? Like, you know, kind of everyone gets their medicine, right? The wheel is round. What goes around comes around. It happens.
I like it.
Good and bad. Yeah.
That's good.
And you know, it's a little cliche, but I think it's true. And I think that's something that in general, when you're just like outward focused, no, I think good opportunities, good things, and you just never know, right? Because like one thing, like you say that, but like maybe something you've done or something, whatever, that maybe doesn't feel like it's returned or gets taken or this or that. Like at the end of the day, it net brings like a positive, or it comes back in some way, shape, or form. Because like, you know, if you are in a spot where you're in a career, where you're in a relationship, and you're looking for like dollar for dollar, pound for pound all the time, it can get tricky, right? Because like you're gonna have your opinion, there's their opinion, there's the real opinion, and sometimes it's not even like the person's fault or what they're able or capable of. So I think when you start coming from that place of everything needs to be the same, which I know you don't, like you come from just like do your best, put it out there, you know, trust the process kind of mentality, which is like how I like to be in general too. I think that's a better way of operating, you know, because it's a dangerous, sticky road if you start like thinking like that. And also you're gonna get disappointed a lot if you want to like give people, you know, always, and also you're hiding you're I think a lot of great ideas and things don't ever happen because people are so protective, so cautious, so worried about getting burned that something never starts, or they don't, you know, put it out there. You know, of course you hear stories where people take advantage or steal things or this or that, but like, you know, ultimately I think you got to be willing to give a little to, you know, for the better of everything, right? Like to collaborate and make the best of things. So,
and I think the mindset shift that I've had to go through, and like, I remember thinking several years ago, and I was different on it, was like, I had expectations of other people. And like, I think that's the killer, you know, like when you expect something in return for the effort that you put towards someone, it's like you said, you're going to end up being disappointed a lot because sometimes it just doesn't work like that. So like just being selfless in sort of your relationships and the way you interact with people and never expecting anything in return, your life is amazing. It's just like always on the up and up, you know, you can only win. It's a free roll.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Well, listen, we have had 2 editions officially here. I got a lot more questions, things I'd like to talk about, but I do want to point out we have a $111 ticket on a giveaway. So, you know, if you go here, you go to Twitter, you go to my pinned tweet. I think Jamie also did tweet it out. It is a $111 ticket, a one-shot ticket. I have to dig in here, but this is a true story. Someone took the 111 ticket and they won the one shot for like 20 grand one of the early weeks. I think I got to say, I think it was the week after they won the ticket, but they got the ticket, they played it, and then they played it again. They hadn't played it before, and then they won it. So I can't say it was the actual ticket, but you get it. It can happen. People can do special things, and that's a nice one. $111 ticket. Guys, get the retweet, ask a question. We're going to try to answer as many as we can here, and then we'll roll on off into the sunset. But get your questions in on Twitter. We're going to take and attack some of these now. So, Jamie, anything else before we start going into the questions? Anything else you want to mention? Anything schedule-wise? WPT, are you playing day 1A or day 1B or both? If you have to, what's your deal?
Both in there, man. WPT on Party Poker in action. So I'm going to be streaming a bunch kind of early Eastern time. I'm just going to wake up and start streaming. And that's going to be the process for the next couple of weeks. And we'll see if that carries throughout the summer in general. So yeah, wake up and grind is the name of the game.
I love it. That's the time. This is one of those periods where you just gotta, everything's out the window. You know, the fitness, the health, all that. Hopefully you get that in, but then the emails, the side stuff, the projects, ideas kind of get put on hold, right? It's it's fun, but it's also
after everything else.
It's just, you know, it's just kind of one of those deals. All right, let's get in here. So right off the bat, my man Chad McVean, who does give a lot of love on the show, appreciate you with the question and promoting the podcast in general. He promotes a lot of podcasts, so check him out and give him a follow on Twitter. But he has a question: what lessons have you learned from poker and streaming that would be most beneficial if you were just starting today? I think I kind of asked that, but this is a little different way. So how would you answer that specifically? Lessons you have learned from streaming and poker?
I guess like things can appear to be like really sexy and like one-off powerful moments and like amazing breakthroughs and stuff like that, but the reality is often very not sexy and very sort of nitty-gritty, and it's just like consistent, persistent effort and just regular chipping away at problems and ideas and things to have success in streaming and in poker. Like a lot of the crushers are not just hitting massive scores for like 4 million. They're day after day grinding it out 4 days a week, 8 hours a day, putting in the time to study, and they're just like showing consistent printy graphs. Same thing with streaming. It's like showing up when you don't want to, making the time for people when you don't want to answer that question, and going the extra mile. So grind it out. It's not sexy, but it's the winning formula.
For sure. And I see Thomas Screech in the chat. You've been instrumental today. I want to say hello, but also just to point out, people ask if you're ever moving back to Canada. I think I saw some people think you were still in the UK and Scotland, but you are in Canada. You are in Montreal, correct?
Montreal, dude. Loving it. There's no you don't get a tan like this in the UK. There's not enough sun throughout the whole year. This is Montreal for sure, 100%. Happy to be here, Jeff. Spotted the original stream house. It's got fond memories. It's good.
Keep an Airbnb on. Keep your eyes out if anything in the neighborhood opens up. I am a favorite to get to Montreal this year for an extended, period of time, and I hope we get to do some sort of house or collaboration out there. I don't know how it would work or what we would do, but I got some ideas, and who knows. So, all right, we're back, guys. $111 giveaway. Ask your question. Send the retweet out on my pinned tweet. We are doing it from Party Poker. It is time. We're here. We're in the question zone. Dinky18 asked, very interesting question. I'm glad it got asked because I don't have to tee it up. It's just here. What changed the most going from PokerStars ambassador to Party Poker, and how did it impact poker career? Juicy one.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's been very different for sure. Like I don't want to be negative on anyone here. I think my time at PokerStars was amazing. We did some awesome stuff, and I think we helped each other out quite a bit. And helped each other grow. I helped them grow. They helped me grow. I think Party Poker has very much been a different aspect in that they had a different level of faith and a different level of partnership with us than PokerStars was having. It's kind of like, felt like I was one of the roster, one of the team over there. And like, you kind of just follow the script of what a sponsored player is supposed to be. Whereas we were extended a little bit more faith and trust and resources to try and make some of the things we want to have happen come to reality, try and make a bit more of an impact within the company and have our voices be heard. And so that was really a liberating sort of thing to make a difference, have an effect, and have a team that really believes in us as individuals and give us the resources needed to sort of make it a big impact. So that's been really rewarding. Poker is still poker at the end of the day, right? So it's been really rewarding to work with Party Poker on their team, and I'm very optimistic about the future. So it should be exciting.
Yeah, I got to piggyback on that as we transition together from PokerStars to Party Poker. Again, I think a lot of benefit in that with competition, with everything. Just there's a monopoly basically going on now. There's not. Enjoyed my time at Stars as well. A lot, and it was a big opportunity. It's a major platform, and obviously Melanie, Scott, those guys like provide a lot of good stuff for us, and I enjoyed everything there. And I think, again, I say this when I ask this question in general, but I think to highlight the fact that poker's different, similar to compare it to sort of a major like sponsorship, right? It's sort of like being an athlete on like take the MLS or NHL or any sport, right? There's teams.
Yeah.
There's 32 teams. Whereas in poker, let's call it 8. Let's just say there's 8 teams. Like that's even a stretch. Like there's like 5 majors, but similar to NHL, right? You got a team like an expansion team or a low, or let's just take NFL, Green Bay Packers. They're a small market. You know, they've got a big name, but like there's some teams that are like lower markets and lower money spent. And there's some teams that are major, like Yankees or such. So, you know, it feels more close to home when someone leaves in poker because there's 32 teams. But when people move around, it's like, all right, someone got traded. You know, if it's Yankee Red Sox, it's a big like, oh, like it's crazy, right? Like it's like a big, they're rivals. But like in poker, everything's sort of close. So when you move sites, it feels kind of personal or like, oh, but no, really, it's just business and what's best for yourself at that given time and what the vision of the site is. I think, you know, people have to understand that. And it's not really like, oh, this site's bad or this site's great or like this site's doing on that. It's just kind of like, all right, it's like this fits for me in the moment. People within the industry move all the time too. People bounce around jobs from stars to party to GG. It just happens. Like there's just only so many organizations. So I think there's just, I want to point that out. It's not so personal and feels so bad. And we still, you know, talk with people. At least I know I do, and I'm sure you do. And the streamers, the people there, and it's a small industry, and it is what it is.
That's right. That's right, Jeff. Adam Pliska really gave me that, and I took it home, which is like the fighting of like us versus them. I mean, this is a small industry, and everyone needs to do a job to grow it. We're all on the same team. We're all trying to go to bat for poker. And yeah, like some teams don't recognize other teams because it's not in their best interest. And it's like, you know, they try and protect what they've built and the money they spend on getting players. At the end of the day, grow poker is an objective we all share and we can all align with that. So it's exactly that, bro. And also when people ask like, hey man, what do you think for a second site? I'm thinking like, bro, basically I play for the New York Islanders and you're asking me if you should go to a New Jersey Jets game, you know, or like a New Jersey Devil game. Like, no, like go to the Islanders. I don't care about anyone else. Like come watch the Islanders. It's my team. Like, I'm sure they're great hockey players and great guys, but like, I don't care what's going on there. I'm an Islander, right? Like that's how it is in regards to sponsorship, you know?
Yeah. I got to ask you this as well, because this is something I keep seeing a lot. People have, you know, we've covered this before about the alias names, about no HUDs. Party does a lot of cool stuff, a lot of innovative things, you know, big topics in the industry. You know, shout out to Rob Young, always taking a chance. Tom Waters, you know, as well, who's been a big part of that. Vadim, all these guys we work with that we respect and that are making difficult decisions that have impact on the industry and how people play the game. Also, you know, it's been, as you mentioned, some tricky things with, we take a step forward with legalization in Pennsylvania, Michigan, then this happens, Europe, different rules, deposit limits in the UK. How valuable, and what do you think about Luxon? Because I know that is a big issue with Party and several other sites where you can no longer player-to-player transfer, which is very, you know, that's tough, right? Like how many times have you or I, like I need money on the site or you do, or, you know, you got a friend or someone to play. It's very easy, right? Whereas you start to have to load your bank account. You got to find a different thing, deposit options. It's a little bit of a tedious process. How have you found Luxon, and are you using that? Because I know that's something that is new, and with no player-to-player transfer, that is the preferred sort of method to get money on the site and move around with player-to-player, person to person, and then onto the site. Have you used that often? Do you like it? And how has that been?
Luxon is dope, bro. I mean, I'm kind of involved a little bit with Luxon and what's going on there. Not in a working capacity or anything, but like I'm at least on the inside in terms of knowledge and stuff on what's happening there. So as a disclaimer, but it is like so dope, bro. As a Canadian, right? I use Canadian dollars. US to Canadian dollar, I don't know how much money I've burnt in exchange fees, but it's absolutely ridiculous, right? And the amount of time it takes to get from here to here to here, like it's just such a pain. It's such a frustrating process in poker to like move money around, get money from X to Y, and like you've got to prove everything to all these different parties. Luxon so far, dude, has changed my life completely in that I can take money out of party poker into my Luxon. I can convert it into any currency. I don't pay any fees on that, which I still don't even know what kind of magic that is.
It's magic.
It's just like a perfect, and then I get it into my bank in like a day and a half. Like I don't it's such a nice thing. Every other company is going to have to catch up pretty quickly, dude, because
it's innovative. It's innovative. Listen, I'm also on Team Luxon. I know as with Party and how intricate it is, and I understand the behind the scenes, and I love it. And I know that with backing and players and all that, it's a huge headache to not have player transfers. So again, I just want to touch on it because I know that it's something that I believe in and I support, and I know that it makes life easier for so many people I know. So anyway, I just want to hit on that. I don't know, sure people have seen it and noticed that there aren't player transfer anywhere. So anyway, just want to talk on that.
This is what people in the chat are saying as well. They put it in the exchange rate, but the thing that you don't understand is you actually Google the XE rate, right? You Google the going rate. They don't add a markup to the rate. What they do is their business model is different to where they're not charging consumers. They're charging the operators. So it's like you don't actually pay any VIG. And that is the best that I can get as an individual by probably about 1.5% anywhere in the world. Like it's incredible for me with my small net worth that I can get a spot exchange like that. It's crazy.
I just remember back in the day, like talking when I was in college, like not even 21 probably, 03, 04, when it was, 05, where NetTeller, I don't know if you know NetTeller or used it or heard of it, but that was like, that was the OG. Like that was back on the Party Poker days. Party Poker was the first site I ever played at. Truly, it's great that I'm here now and I can just like that was the first ever site I got money transferred. Back then, it was just like create a screen name. Your friends send you $50, like make a username. No, like whatever. I mean, it was Wild West. But like NetTeller was like money in and out. It was amazing, and that's the feel of Luxon now, where it's like you can just have Luxon, and I know GG has it. I believe 888 is using it or soon, and it's just anyway. I don't want to spend this about Luxon. We're high on it. We believe on it, and you guys should know the name Luxon. It's a power. It's a game changer. So shout out to that. But yeah, people are asking. You can hear more about it. It's on the website Party Poker. Anyway, Jamie and I, we endorse it. We love it. That's a fact. So okay, we've covered that. Let's move on. This is Kevin Hayes paying you a compliment here. You always look so composed when you get knocked out. I said this earlier, out of a tournament or get a bad beat. I've never seen you rage. Never seen you rage. Capital rage. How do you keep yourself in check? Have you ever in the past flipped out and thrown broken stuff after a bad beat? So my man's asking, how do you keep your composure, and have you ever lost it?
Like 7 or 8 years ago, I used to tilt after taking bad beats, but I don't really anymore. Part of it is because I wanted to be a pro golfer, and tilt in golf is very similar to poker. So I was practicing from when I was like 12 or 13 to manage emotions and tilt in performance. But it's just like having a realistic expectation about what you can get out of poker, which is like, hey, bro, you're not going to win 80-20s all day. You're going to lose some of them. And if you expect to win them, you're just wrong. Like your expectations are out of whack. So it doesn't surprise me ever to lose. I don't always expect to win. Having realistic expectations is important. And then the second part is like, all you can do is impart good decisions. The rest is just the mirage, right? It's like what happens, but your job is good decisions. Once you've made the decision, the rest is going to happen. So it's like missing like an 8-foot putt. It's like, I'm not tilted. It's like, I'm going to miss some putts. Like I'm going to lose some hands. Sometimes I'm going to run into the nuts. Sometimes I'm going to bust to a bad beat on a final table. And like, I know that because I'm not an idiot, like I know how this game works. So I shouldn't be surprised by it.
Let me take it one step further. How do you deal with variance in terms of like being, or I should say not variance, result oriented? Because this to me is so tricky. Like you could go on a stretch. I saw someone reference in the chat. I don't know if this is true or not. They're saying Matt's on a 50K downswing this year because he puts his results on his stream, right? And then tracks every thing, which is cool. That's a whole nother, deal of whatever. But like he does that and he's downswinging, and Matt's, I think, playing great poker and gotten a lot better, a ton better. Like he's a very good poker player. Now, how do you tell though, like that 50K, he could easily be playing the best poker of his life and be down, let's say 50K. And how do you find it to know? Because as a streamer, it is frustrating as well. Like if you go through a period of time where you're like, people are watching you losing, and you may not be playing your best. Maybe it's too many tables. Maybe it's a combination of things. Or maybe you're losing flips at final tables or bad beats, whatever it is. How are you able to separate that and say, okay, I'm not playing well, I need to reset, or I'm just running bad? Do you have a way to do that? Do you have like a database, like, or just your gauge? Like, how are you able to decide if you're playing well or not? Because results oriented is a real thing, and it's hard sometimes.
I think just review. Like you can't look at results to dictate whether you're doing well or not well. I think it comes down to the decision-making point. So getting feedback on that, checking out some hands, looking into learning resources to ensure that you're doing the right thing, like that is the work of deciding whether you're doing well or not like what the result came down as. And then also for me, like personally, I never feel any frustration because I just kind of have blind faith that the process of like working on your game is all there is. Like nothing else matters. So you just keep working and find mistakes and fix them. Where I sometimes get a little bit frustrated or like I get on like almost like an impatient tilt, I guess, of like I want something to happen now, is perception. So if I go like several weeks without winning on stream, I don't care about the money I lost. I don't care about my ability as a player. I care about my ability to prove it and to showcase the hard work on stream. Because the reality for people is different than the reality for me. Right. So like if I'm working hard and results aren't coming, I'm frustrated that I don't get to showcase the hard work I've been doing to the people that watch the show. That's the only sort of form of tilt or frustration or impatience that I experience, I think.
Right. And man, it's well said. I think that's one of the hardest things in poker to do is be honest with yourself and just kind of be able to get a good feel, because you can also be running well and not playing great, and that happens too. So it's a bit tricky, right? And that's it's why it's a tricky thing at some degree, at some level in poker. Enough, like you or I, whether we're playing like A+ or B- poker, we can get on the stream and talk things through. This is the hand, this is how many blinds you have, I should do this, I'm gonna, like you kind of understand. But it's like at some point there are punts or spots that you could play better, or take it to the next level. And I think it's a bit tricky when you get to a certain point of poker where you can confidently talk through things that it's easy to know. It's easy to get confused or distracted on what level you're playing and if things aren't going well or not. So anyway, I really like how you explain that. And I will also ask now, because this is always something that fascinates me, how many tables are you playing and what do you believe is the right formula? Because this changes. For me personally, we haven't talked about this in a while. What are you doing on stream and what do you think is your optimal set, and why? Why do you do what you do?
Depends how sharp I'm feeling. A few more on Sunday than other days of the week because the action is slower. So I'm usually 5. I would say 5 is like my standard in the midweek, and then 6 is my standard on Sunday. But I can go up to 8 and be comfortable, but not for like 10 hours. I can play 8 for like 3 hours, but then things usually calm down and I'll get back down to 6 or 5. So like 8's pretty much the max, and then 4 or 5 is pretty much the min, somewhere in there.
But do you notice like a significant difference at like 1 or 2? Like, do you feel like you're playing like, wow, like I'm just not missing a spot and I'm playing like amazing at 4 or 5 or even 8?
No difference 1, 2, or 3. 4 is where I start. 4, 5, 6 is where I start to like maybe play a little bit too passive in the small blind, for example. Maybe miss the occasional flop check raise. Maybe miss the occasional open and the hijack with the queen 8 suited, like that sort of stuff. Like I'll start to get a little fuzzy around the edge when I start to hit like 5, 6, really. But no difference between 1 and 3 for me.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think I don't know. I just find this to be like the most fascinating thing. I think it's one of the things that's like the most most people that are playing at a high level or playing a lot of tables or a lot of tournaments that could really affect like their win rate. Like I just think it makes such a big difference to play like 2 or 3 versus like 6 or 8. Like like if I could redo the pandemic in terms of my playing, like I think at times like I was doing 10, 12 tables during streaming, and it was just like it was an absolute mess.
Bro, we had this conversation like literally 3 years ago, Jeff. You're a FOMO master, man. You can't help yourself. Man. You're just I'm going to play 2, 3 tables. And then you fire up and you see all these amazing tournaments and you're just sitting 10 deep. And then we have this chat where you're just like, I'm going to play 2 or 3 tables. I don't believe you, Jeff. Next session, I want to see 3 tables max. I don't believe you. I bet against.
All right. I can pick you up. Maybe that's what I need. Honestly, like, the thing about like betting these type of things that are like, even I've done no alcohol bet for a year. I did no bread bet. I did carry on only for a year. Luckily that was before streaming, but like these type of things can just like force you into habits. So I don't know. Maybe a
free roll then. Give me a free roll, Jeff.
All right, talk to me. What?
Anything over 4.
You owe free roll, not a bet.
No, give me a free roll.
Wow, that's a different way of looking at it.
What do you want? My $500 upside? If you really want to play under 4 tables, give me a free roll.
It's a tricky. That's a big raise. You just absolutely heat checked me.
$800. $800 for anything over 4 tables. Free roll.
For what? For when? Over 4. That's
over 4. You can play up to 4. And I'll give you a grace period if you accidentally forgot you're registered in something. That's fine. That's allowed.
I'll do it for 6. I'll give you a free roll on 6 because that's like
he's not playing his best poker at 5, Chat. He's not. We all know it. We all know it.
But 6 above 6, I'm on another screen. Then we got real now we're talking like 6 is like 6 on one screen. I think that's okay. I'll give you a free roll on 6 for okay. Yeah, I'll give you
anything over 6. Give me a free roll.
I'll give you a 1K free roll, but I get 20% of the tournament. A 1K tournament free roll. So it's 800, but it's a 1K buy-in.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
That's booked. You can
for 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. We'll check back in on the next pod and see where we're at. But I like that. Ghost, I hope you're listening and remind me, please, because I'm gonna do that. Don't get too excited, Jamie. I don't think you're gonna get that one. I'm gonna be disciplined. So we got that in the books. All right, we're gonna take a few more, guys. There's a lot. Look at this love. Look at the questions. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of questions. We've covered actually a lot. But let's see. I'm gonna pick a few more. Give me your first ever poker. Give me your first ever poker experience. Like, just tell me your first time you ever played live poker. Do you remember it? Where was it? What happened? Did you win? Who got you there? Give me all of it. Give me the whole deal.
Yeah. So, I remember playing free rolls and like play money poker at 12 years old once. And then the next time was like home games and Zynga poker in high school. But like the first time I played actual real money poker, I played a 1-2 home game where I bought in for $100 and my hand was shaking. It was a 4-handed cash game. I won like $250. It was the dream. And then I went to Lethbridge Casino and similarly, my hands were shaking. I walked right through the pit because I didn't know that the pit was like a no-go zone. So I just walked in between tables through to the poker room and they're like, no, you got to go around. I was like, okay. Sure, like I don't know how this works, man. Like
you didn't get tackled. They didn't come and tackle you. That would be
a low security. It's Lethbridge Casino, bro. It's not the hot spot in the town. So, anyways, I played cash. I think I lost like $150, but sitting with $200 in front of you is like it's scary. And then also you're like, am I an idiot? Like, what am I? Like, I could lose this. Like, is this for real, bro?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's intense, but then it becomes very normal and very fun. But the first couple of times, it's so scary. It just is. It's just scary. Sorry, it is.
I remember, man. It's fun. It's great memories. The first live poker really is. It is fun. And what? Give me quickly. We got a question. We'll take a couple more, but the question about your biggest live win. Let's take a look at the Hendon Mob. You haven't really, James and Matt as well. A lot of streamers haven't really spent a lot of time playing live just because of the nature of Twitch. And is this something, tell us about your biggest live win you did? I remember you took down, you've won some tournaments. You won the one at, and actually it was Barcelona. I think we were there.
Barcelona,
we had some videos.
I'm waiting for my EPT tag on PokerStars, but they haven't given it to me yet. So I don't know. I traveled around for a lot of the 5K. You can see some of the 5K EPTs on there. But I don't go to the World Series very often or like a lot of these series because it just doesn't make sense. I'm away from my stream for 2 weeks. I don't make any streaming money or get any real rest when I go to these stops. It's like I'm sort of doing my job, but with only one revenue source instead of like 7. So it doesn't make a lot of sense unless I want to do it for fun. And I have enough poker in my life. Run It Up Reno 3rd place main event and or that PLO cash for 23,000 euros might be it. I'm thinking live poker is very much a later in my poker career activity. when I'm like kind of burnt out from putting in a lot of hours on the camera and I want to slow things down a little bit, I'm looking forward to traveling and playing some live stops around the world. But I feel like I still have the energy, and the moment is still digital. It's Twitch, it's YouTube, it's Facebook, it's action. And it would just seem like a waste to really invest a lot of time in live poker right now. So that's kind of my focus is online.
I love it. And we'll take maybe 2 more questions from Twitter, guys. Get them in. You can win that $111 ticket, the one shot from Party Poker, Jaime Staples, myself. Tell me about YouTube on your channel and growth, and how much are you involved? So you have a video editor and such. Tell me the process. Yeah. Are you doing thumbnails? Are you coming up with the titles? Is it hard for you to let go of control? Talk me through a video that gets made on your YouTube channel. What's the process in that? And what are you actually doing other than, it's highlights from Twitch, repurposed? But what involvement do you have other than that? Like, are you just streaming and that's completely just done? Do you say, hey, this was a good run, or hey, there was a lot of crazy stuff today, make some notes? How do you get it out?
Notes. Yeah. So I make notes. I have 2 editors right now. One that works within Party Poker's ecosystem, and then one that I employ myself. So for YouTube and Facebook highlights specifically, I upload the stream. I make some notes on what happened in the stream. And then for one of my editors, who is mainly a Portuguese speaker, I'll make a title and a thumbnail suggestion. And then for the English dude, I'll just let him pick. I don't worry about giving up control because the YouTube channel wouldn't run if I didn't give up control. There isn't enough time. So it's just like, the poker playing speaks for itself. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to have the perfect thumbnail or the perfect title or the perfect cuts. It's not about perfect. It's about creating a presence for poker on YouTube, and then also advertising your Twitch show. So I'm okay with it not being perfect. It's about volume. It's unsexy. Get it out there and give people the opportunity to see it. So that's the process for YouTube and Facebook. And then Rebecca will post on Facebook, who also works with Party Poker, Team Online. She also does some of my social media. She'll post it there. And then likewise, we'll make like vertical videos for Instagram TV, for TikTok, for Instagram. And then she'll do the posting on those for those platforms. So for me, I focus about poker, playing poker and streaming. And then once a week, I'll have meetings with various people to sort of organize this stuff. That's about it.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, it is a process, and the content's a real thing. It's a game. It takes time, takes effort. And I think letting them go of control is important, right? Because like you said, if you just want to do it your way, exactly your way, the whole way, it would be a lot less and
drawn
probably,
dead.
It's not, doesn't make sense. Let's do, good question here. We'll take this one and then let's do the giveaway. What do you love the most about Party Poker? My man, Nemesis 7 Escanola, Neri, always dropping good energy. Appreciate that. Well, what is the best thing about Party Poker that you enjoy? Schedule, the team, this, that, like, what do you love?
I think there's 2 things specifically that are in the DNA and the philosophy of Party Poker that I really respect. I mean, I could talk about specifics like the tournament schedule or the promotions that we have or the new hot tables or anything like that. But for me, the DNA is important because it's poker at the end of the day. Poker as it should be is sort of a theme that was talked about a lot last year and resonated. And the way that we structure tournaments with limited re-entries, with limited late registration, with decent structures, I mean, it takes away some of the flippant gambling aspect and makes it more prestigious and really emphasizes poker as it should be. So I love that. And then a poker site sort of by the players for the players, which is not necessarily true. Everyone that works at Party Poker isn't a poker player, right? There's people that aren't, but like the DNA of poker players and the wants and desires of regular poker players flow through the company in every aspect, right? Like that is held to be core to the belief of what Party Poker is. And it's something really unique because that is not the case at a lot of other places where you might get an opportunity to voice your views, but really decision making is made vertically. Whereas at Party Poker, for the longest time, there's been a lot of collaboration and information brought in from stakeholders that is understood. So poker as it should be, and for players by players. those are parts of party poker that I don't think anyone can get close to. That's something unique about us.
I love that. I agree completely. And also, again, one of the things where not a knock or a not necessarily like I don't know how to word it, but the point is there's a very few people, I think, in poker that are synonymous with everything you mentioned. Again, Rob Young, we don't want to, obviously, who we have our deal with, who we respect, but I think that's, I don't want to be, what's the word? Sucking up. But the truth is, Rob is a guy we have direct access to, that we talk with, give feedback, and he listens and can make choices. Whereas at Stars, we had contacts with things that are such a big, how the company is and how it's structured, even like, to get stuff done, it would take like weeks or a month, to do ideas, to get things through. It's like, all right, like you have an idea, you're something, like, got to get approval, got to sign off. Whereas Rob's kind of like, all right, I'll do it. And there's only a few guys, I think, in the industry that have that kind of access and willingness to do and take risks, take chances, and really go for it. So I think that's one of the things that were most attractive to us at Party Poker. Like the Big Deal, right? Which was basically your idea. We helped put together, but you came up with this sort of idea, structure, and it took a lot of effort, a lot of whatever, but just went for it. And these are things that at other sites, companies, it's a production. It's a thing. It's not just going to happen. And so I think that's one of the, again, to kind of just tack on.
Same with Bill Perkins on that too. Like Bill Perkins give me a similar kind of thing. Like he'll try experiments and he'll do things and he'll take chances on things and he'll give it a try. I mean, I've heard a lot of amazing things about Isai Scheinberg. I didn't have the opportunity of working with him, but I've never heard anything but positive things from people that worked with him before. Like there is a lot of great people within poker that want to take those chances. I think just part of the thing that's so tough, Jeff, is that the poker is such a heavily regulated, structured, bureaucratic business that it's so tough to be agile and quick. And it takes some special people to allow that agility to exist. And yeah, man, when you see it, it's just like, it's a treasure, something to be held and something not to be undervalued, because it's super important, I think. So I'm with you, bro.
Very cool. All right, we got. I'm gonna queue up the giveaway, but as I'm doing that, a question. I think Ghost of M was mentioning they still use a video on Matt Staples' channel about bankroll management, maybe that you came up with, or you did. I don't know if you know that or heard of that or know what I'm talking about. But
I don't know.
Do you have an advice? Your best advice for successfully following bankroll management? What has worked for you, and mixing maybe some shot taking or whatnot? But how have you done bankroll management over your career that's worked for you?
This is such a hard question to answer. I have a few videos on bankroll management on my YouTube channel. I kind of had a fight with Doug Polk about bankroll management a couple years ago, because he was saying, like, if you don't make 6 figures a year, poker's not worth it, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. And we fought it out on my YouTube channel. I think bankroll management is so individual. Like you were saying earlier, Jeff, if you're 22, you don't have any financial responsibilities, you live at home, you're going to school on the side, like your bankroll management can be a lot more aggressive than someone that is 35 with a mortgage and poker is their only sort of skill set or accolade up to this point. They have a family they have to provide for. That person should be very, very risk averse, right? As opposed to the 22-year-old that doesn't have the responsibilities. So it comes down to, what is your relationship to poker? If you are a professional or if you play poker for fun, what it is that you want to accomplish, and then assessing your risk from there. So the advice you'll hear, like 100 buy-ins for tournaments or 200 buy-ins for tournaments, I think that's fine. I think that's pretty conservative for someone playing for fun, but is okay for sort of an entry-level pro. And then older school pros might want to work with more like 500 buy-ins or a little bit less. And then Bill Perkins says, like, hey man, if you play poker for fun, it's a poker budget. It's not a poker bankroll. It's a poker budget. Like, why do you got to take the same approach as a professional? Like you pay to go to the golf course and play golf all month, right? You pay to go to the movies and watch the movies. I mean, if you budget a certain amount of money to poker a month, and sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, that's a much better approach if you're playing purely for fun. So basically, I don't have a good answer for you. Just know that variance is extreme. It's going to be much more extreme than you think. and evaluate what it is you're trying to do in poker and your relationship to poker and the risk you can take on in your life.
It's very well said. I like that. I will watch those bankroll management videos. That's important. And I think Ghost did reference that's what they use. I think Matt uses one of those for his, when people like talk about bankroll management, he directs them to his older brother. Yeah. Any words on Matt Staples? What do you think about the young whippersnapper? He's out there mixing it up, doing it. He's a member of Team Party. He was just on the podcast the other day. I won't forget that time in Run Up Reno. He looked at me. He was young. He was hungry. And he said, I am going to put my head down and become an elite streamer, gamer. And he's got heart. He's got character. What do you got to say about your younger brother, Matt?
I mean, Matty does it, bro. I mean, if Matty says he's going to do something, he does it. He goes all the way. He commits. I mean, Matt is very disciplined, dude. He goes after what he wants, and he just gets it done. So I'm really proud of the success he's had. He's earned every moment of it, you know. I find it frustrating sometimes when like people pose questions as to like how much has your brother meant to you? Not that you've done that, but other people do. It's just like that might be a sentiment that people feel towards Matt, but it's not justified. I mean, Matt was in that shadow and he fought his way out of that shadow from pure hard work. And so I have a huge amount of respect for that. I mean, the future is bright for Matty Ice, continues to crush. And I'm just looking forward to enjoying the sweat, dude. I mean, if anyone deserves the film, it's Matty Ice. 18 years old, never had a job. He signs up as a PA, plays 10 cents on Twitch, and all of a sudden he's got a 250K bankroll, wins a 150K bet, lives in 10 countries around the world, all before the age of 25. I mean, come on. What is this?
It's crazy. Listen, Matt, I got to give a Matt. I'll give a Matt endorsement as well. I mean, I sing the Staple Brother praises, but I will say, you know, similar to you, I know you very well because we talk a lot. You're a good friend of mine. We collaborate. We kind of organize some projects, stream houses. We're at the like front line. You know, Matt, I know much less, right? Like I know Matt. We've spent time together, but like he's one of those guys that I trust 100%. And I would say that about you, but like I know you. You know, like Matt, like I don't talk like a much lower percentage of time, like other than times you spend on some of these trips or, you know, we've gotten to know each other, running up Reno, whatever. But like, he's just a guy that, you know, has integrity. That exactly like you say, if he says it, it's it. Like Matt asked me for, you know, transfer or something or whatever. I don't even think about it. I don't need it in writing or like, oh, like, you know, I'm just like, all right, Matt, you're good, bro. Like he's got that energy and just such a positive, he's a good young lad. And I told him, I reminded him like as well, you know, he was talking about something where he was like, you know, I want to do this or more. Like, I was like, Matt, you're 25. Like you have 100,000 Twitch following at 25. I'm trying to think when I was 25, I was playing beer pong and ordering Ding Hao, living in my friend's house, you know, and playing some casual poker. So like, yeah, he's really is like ahead of his time. You know, he's like what, 5 years younger than you or so, or 6 or 3.
5, yeah. 4? I'm 30 next week, bro.
Wow. Any big plans for the 30th?
No, I mean, it's incredibly depressing. It's like, it's a terrible birthday. It's one of the worst, but everyone says that the 30s are the best. Like 30 to 40 is the best years of your life. And like, so I'm hoping they're right. I don't know. That's it, man.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that should be how it works. I don't know. I mean, it seems good. 30s seem like fun. It's like, I guess it makes sense. A lot of things are, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how the graph or the curve works, but yeah, it's all good, man. We're in a good spot. We're having fun. We're doing what we love. We push and we shove, you know, there's poems about that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to give a 111 ticket courtesy of Party Poker, Jaime Staples, myself. We're going to go ahead and do it. I don't know why my man DMP3's giveaway wasn't working, but anyway, I copied it. We tried this. It only loaded 5. I don't know if I'm on for some reason I did something wrong or maybe I need to whatever, but that's we're going to redo it here. So Jaime, you tell me when, and I'm going to go ahead and do a $111 ticket giveaway. Someone's going to get a one-shot ticket. If you're streaming Sunday, I want you to let's try to get aware. Let's get eyes on who it is, what their username is, and try to sweat them on Sunday. But you tell me when we're going to roll it.
No.
Right there. It's in the air. This is a shot. There's about 120 eligible people. This one doesn't screen bots. I hope someone legit and fun and engaging that's going to be playing Sunday and give it their best is do it. Look at this. Loading old retweets from the database. This is a long load. I hope this is working. This seems like, there it is. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no way. Can you read it?
Ouch!
He's got it. Oh my goodness!
Montreal brother, right there.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. That makes me so happy, man. Look at this guy. What a legend, dude. He was at the stream house, my man, and he actually streams. Wow. Boom. I mean, you can't script that. I think he was in there earlier. I hope he's in the.
Look who's in the chat, by the way. I think we got John Duffy.
He was here.
The legend.
John Duffy's in the chat.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Wow. Wow. 30. John saying 30 is a great decade, man. You will love it. Yeah, you're coming into it right in. I'm about halfway over. 4 years over.
I hear that. That's really good. I'm not happy about it. Thank you, John.
John's here, man. I'd love to have John on the pod in the future. That guy's a guy. Guys, if you don't know John Duffy, you should just do a quick Google search and treat yourself.
Like, please get some guys that have life experience on your podcast, Jeff. I feel like such an idiot talking on the podcast as a 29-year-old. What do I have to talk about? John Duffy has lived through, like, how many amazing stories do you think John Duffy has? Where's the John Duffy book?
I'm not going to put him on the spot here, but he has an open invite.
He's got to go. He's got
respect for my dad. This has to be him. My Feel a Kilo A2, because I think he's been locked out of Twitch. He couldn't figure out the reset. I told him it's very simple, but he couldn't get there. He has a new name. I know that's him. Can we get him a sword? Ghost, can someone get this guy a sword? That's my father. Dad, how are you? Good to see you in there. John Duffy in there. A lot of familiar faces. Alt wins the 111 ticket courtesy of Party Poker. We're at the right place, right time. We're in the Matrix. We're at Party Poker, man. It's we're so grateful to be here. John also a member. I was gonna say, John, he's one of those guys that's better at his hobby than our profession, because we're in there. We're putting years grinding, playing every tournament. What does Duffy do? He shows up, 10K buy-in on Party. Final 5 or 6, final 4, 600K score, call it a year. We're in here grinding, getting just absolutely just plugged, just bricks in the face, day in, day out. John's in there, probably sipping his tea, watching whatever, and he just rips off a 6 honey pack for the good guys. And Jamie and I are in here day in, day out. John's one tabling, doing his thing and just crushing it. But anyway, John Duffy
got it, bro. Some guys just got it. Another shout out, Jeff. We got to throw a shout out here. Massa from the Casino Daddy. Did you see his score?
No, but I know he can play some poker. Bro, he's also
didn't see his score, man.
No,
he won. He won the 1500 main on GG for 1.2 milli.
No,
straight. He won it straight, and I guarantee he had 100%. He's just straight up 1.2 milli Bitcoin into the account. Easy pog. Massa, Casino Daddy. You got to message him, bro. It's the sickest thing. Massa is not a poker professional. He's just put my whole career to shame. He's just like, oh yeah, 1.2 million, no problem.
Wow. That's interesting. That is wow. I'm gonna when was that? I'm messaging him right now.
That was like a couple of weeks ago, man. Massa from Casino Daddies. Matthews.
Yeah, dude. Did he stream it? Because I know he does stream sometimes.
No, he didn't. He didn't stream it.
If you didn't stream it, did it happen? I got to ask it that way. Because if you didn't vlog it, I got to believe. I guess at that point, a million had happened. Who cares? But congrats. There's been some big. Vanessa Cade had $1 million score. Congrats to her. A lot of people are in there. Jamie, when is it? What's the record score for you on stream?
Bro, I don't want to talk about it, man. It's so not good, dude.
No, but listen, Duffy's here. People are here. Energy's powerful. Declare. What are you going to have?
35K. 2 times I've scored 35K in my poker career. That is the height, bro. So you can feel 20th place in the 5K millions, 900,000 for the win on stream. We've got 15,000 viewers. It's going to blow up to 100,000 in hours. 20th place, it stings still. And it's 6 months. It's still stinging. I wake up with a bit of a pain.
Was that ace 10 to 8s where you ripped ace 10 and 8s call and there was ace 8 flop?
I don't even remember. I think
that's it. I'm pretty sure. But that's man, we got to keep. That's all you can do. Keep knocking. Put yourself.
John Duffy is 10 of 11 in the 530 right now. Mini main.
What day is it? Tuesday?
What's up top, guys? What's up top in John Duffy's 530 mini main? That's so sick.
Is it the WPT?
Yeah, the mini main. I think it was a 500K guaranteed.
No, he's just doing it. He's really doing it like that.
Jeff, do you ever think about hanging up the gloves when you see guys like this? Literally just like guys so good that they just one table pop it off and it's no problem. I mean, my goodness, man.
Because I don't get it. I want to say that Duffy could use sort of not that he's you know, he's a silver fox. He's like, he's a guy that if you didn't know him somehow and he's at a table, you might not like think he's got all the tools in his chest, but he does. But online, like he's like, when's the last time you were 10 of 11 in a 500? I mean, for a big one, like it's just, John, teach us, show us. We got to have him on, man. I'm not going to ask him. I hope he's listening, John. Just message me on the side. I'm never going to put you on the spot, but would love to have Duffy on and hear some of his stories. That's a guy, you know, like Mike Sexton, rest in peace. Absolute legend of the game. Like I said, I'm kind of a bridge. I feel like the younger guys like Matt, and then there's the guys that have been around from the OGs of poker. And like the stories are just out, you know, there's good stories, right? Like there, at some point you share stories. Like there's stuff I won't talk about now that at some point I will. Like I'm sure John, I would love to catch John on with a little whiskey with the little propper in his hand and just, you know, talk about a couple of the good old days. So anyway, guys, Jaime Staples, we gave away the 111 ticket courtesy of Party Poker. We have got WPT going on day 1A Sunday. Good luck to everyone playing. There's satellites, 320s, 33s. If you're playing, best of luck. Drop in Discord. Let us know. You're streaming. Good luck to everyone playing. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for WPT. I'm not gonna be able to fire most of it, but good luck to everyone playing. Good luck to you, Jaime. Thank you for coming on to the second rendition on the podcast. And again, man, cheers to you. Congrats on all your success. Wish you nothing but the best. I feel a 6-figure score coming very soon in 2021, maybe this weekend, in the next 2 weekends. WPT going on day 1A, day 1B the following Sunday. We'll see you guys very soon. Let me see who's on, Jaime. We got my man Lag TV Maximus is on. There's so many people streaming. It's crazy. I can't even like find the listing of like, there's so many poker streamers going on. It's amazing to see. It's alive. The directory's well. And I am going to toss it, I think, to our man. Is that who's on, James? You see, I see Lag TV in there.
Lag TV. I'm trying to see a Slayer V1 fan is playing some poker right now. WPT. Always got love for Slayer, for sure. I mean, he's an absolute legend. Tobson TE9, day 2 of the 162 WPT PKO, 90131. Couple party poker people out there, man.
I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw it to Slayer. I like that. He's in the party streets. I think Lag, you guys should check out as well. Lag TV Maximus. I know you guys have done some of the challenges together, and he's a great addition to Team Party. So check him out. Tell him hello. But I want to see Slayer in there. Give him a boost. Say what's up, and we'll throw it to him. And hopefully I'll be streaming some poker soon, guys. Thank you for watching. More podcasts to come. Big year ahead in big WPT. Good luck, Jaime, and stay on, man. Let's catch up properly here. And cheers to everyone for watching. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Oh, I messed that up, guys. I'm gonna do a raid. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna do a thing, and then I'm gonna mess this up. The timing's tough. I'm rusty. I'm like not even a full-time streamer. Let me just do this right, because I got to raid and then cut. This is weird. It's on a different format. This and that. It's not easy. This stuff, technology is hard, man. Slayer. How his name's kind of hard too. It's Slayer
V1 fan.
V1 fan poker raid. Do that, click that, do that. All right, guys. So I'm going to count you down in 10 seconds. Appreciate all the love. Thank you so much. My fourth goodbye. I get separation anxiety. I really do hate to go. We're going to have to do it. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to host it. We're going to run. And Jaime, stay put. We'll talk. Cheers, everyone. Had a great day. Appreciate it.